And it was just everything that I had been through and just that lesson again of gentleness. She flexed my capabilities as a life coach and where I'm going. Cause I've been studying a lot. Since I got out of the military, it's just psychology, human behavior, a lot of neuro-linguistic programming. In May, I'm going to fly out to Portugal and go get my master neuro-linguistic programming certification so I can be a master practitioner. That's what Tony Robbins is. That's what I'm kind of modeling after is him, is just embodying that message, getting people to find meaning. For me, what I have written on my wall is be the man that got the world to believe in themselves again. That's what I want to do. And that's just that's the mountain that I've decided that I'm going to die on, is that one. Is it doesn't matter how long it takes or where I go in life. Just if I am able to get people to believe in themselves again, I'm fulfilled.
This episode is brought to you by Triton Coffee, a veteran-owned brand and lifestyle. And while they're masters of cold brew, Triton's beans are roasted to create a flavor that shines whether you drink it hot or cold. There's no bitterness, there's no burnt taste, it's just good tasting coffee. Their coffees taste amazing hot, which is how I prefer it, while still designed to excel as a cold brew. But Triton Coffee is more than just great taste. Triton supports your wellness journey, featuring ingredients like organic mushrooms, adaptogens, and nootropics. It's made for those who enjoy good coffee and value quality and health. So if you're looking for a coffee that meets you wherever your day takes you, hot or cold, you need to check out Trident Coffee. I know I said I prefer hot coffee, but here's a tip from me. Mix their instant cold brew with your favorite protein for a protein coffee drink that's great cold. You can thank me later. I know there's a lot of coffee options out there, but give Trident a try. I know you'll enjoy it as much as I do. Head over to tridentcoffee.com and use the promo code TDP15 for 15% off your order. That's TDP15 for 15% off your order. My guest this time spent 6 years in the Navy as a corpsman. He was assigned to the 1st Marine Division and deployed once to Afghanistan. His story is more about maturing and life and growing up than necessarily just the transition component. He joined the Navy right out of high school to escape, to get away from a very bad childhood. Unfortunately, he brought with him that loner mentality, a bit of a chip on his shoulder, and just a general level of immaturity. He had people while he was in the military that tried looking out for him, tried to get him to square himself away. He just couldn't. Self-sabotage, as he says. It wasn't until he got out of the military that he finally hit rock bottom. He was homeless. He was living in his car. But then he went deep into his faith. And more, he found that mentor, that one person who cracked his code and said the words he needed to hear. He's since turned himself around. Today, he's a life coach, helping others who are struggling to help them turn their lives around. This is a good one, and I really hope you enjoy it. So let's get into it. Here's episode 172 with Johann Figueroa. You still surf regularly?
Not regularly, no. I don't. I try, but just with everything that's going on, I haven't really found too much time to go surf. But I'm definitely by the ocean every day, running and just jumping in the ocean after my runs.
When you, and the reason why this is interesting to me, because for the people who are really into surfing, it becomes just a vital part of their life.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of wondering, for you to kind of step away from it, do you find that you miss it? Is it something that in your mind, you're like, I want to make time for that? Or are you just busy with so much other stuff that it just falls?
Yeah.
I'm not by the wayside, but kind of like falls to the back of your mind.
Yeah. For me, I realized that it wasn't just the love of surfing. It was just the ocean. That's it. So whenever I'm in close proximity, I just need to touch the water. That's it. It's not even just being on a surfboard. I could just go paddle out and sit there. I've done that a lot. Surfing was more just an activity that I would do for fun that I ended up really, really enjoying. But what really helped me and what I love is just the ocean. That's it. So no matter what I'm going through, I know that as long as I'm able just to get my feet in the water, I'm fine. It's just like a reset. Like it's like my home base. So no matter what happens, if I could just go drive to the beach and get my toes in the water, I'm good. It's a reset.
Not to be overly analytical or trying to go deep into that Zen type thing, but people talk about barefoot and touching grass on a regular basis to kind of ground you to the earth.
Yeah.
Do you find that water for you is that grounding point?
It's more of it's a spiritual thing for me. So I'm a Christian, and whenever I'm in the water, I touch the water, I can just feel God. That's it. Like, I just know that God's with me. You know, that's the way that he communicates the strongest with me, or at least that I can hear him the most. So yeah, it does ground me for sure, but it grounds me because I'm with God. That's it. That's my connection to him. If I'm not going to church, or I'm not sitting in service, when I touch my feet into the water, it's just present, rooted in the moment, and I can feel him with me. So yeah.
I want to check something real quick.
This is such a nice setup.
Thank you.
Oh, this is awesome.
I've been slowly working on. I'm already thinking of the next iteration and kind of what I'm leaning towards. Do I want to go no table, just some chairs?
Yeah.
So
no, this table's nice. And then the more that you do this, and the more guys that you have on, because a lot of people do have things that are just built up in them, and it's part of that crazy story, just being able to get it out there. Because one thing that I was always told is that your story is someone else's salvation. And a lot of these dudes have like insane, I don't even think my story is that crazy compared to some of these other dudes, but yeah, you hit one right person and you change the whole life. So, if you keep doing this, I can see this going absolutely massive.
You're hitting on something that's been very important for me from the get-go, is that, yes, the backbone of the podcast is about transition, like we were talking about a little bit back. But as much as it's about planning and preparing for your transition and kind of creating a plan for yourself, the other equal important thing is, for many of us, we make the uniform our identity. And when we step away from these careers, there is that significant sense of loss of identity.
Yeah.
And where I'm going with this, I could sit here and every episode by myself say, have a plan, don't make this your identity. Yeah. It's going to become white noise.
Exactly.
You're going to tell your story and your experiences, and it, like you said, it's going to resonate with that one set of ears. And that for me is what this is all about. And one of the best affirmations I can get is when a guest comes on, their episode comes out, and then somebody in their circle reaches out to them and says, man, I didn't realize that you were going through that, or you struggled with that, or whatever.
Yeah.
And it then in turn helps them, so I think every time we hear somebody else's story, it's just a little bit more of each of us saying it's okay to struggle, because the thing is, struggle is not the problem. It's not fighting the struggle and making sure that you keep moving forward.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then with that, your story is someone else's salvation. It's just that one point of connection that they can make between themselves and you, because a lot of things that I find within my own audience is a lot of these guys, they see, combat vet, this, that, I can't relate to them. But then we really unpack the story and they can find those relational points to each other, and that's it. And then they're like, oh, okay, I'm not so different from that guy. Oh, Johann's not special because I'm not fucking special. I'm just someone that's just been resilient through the whole thing. But anybody can be resilient. It's just a frame of mind, And once you break down those barriers that are stopping this person from connecting to that one, people can really, truly start to change their lives, because anybody can do it. Really, anybody can. Anybody can. Because we're all created from God, And we have that inside of us, and anybody can use it.
It's finding that person or that group that makes you feel comfortable enough to take the chance.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned, and we'll get into this, but finding that right mentor.
Yeah.
Finding that right voice that resonates with you and helps you move forward, as opposed to, there are a lot of people out there saying things, and I'll use your Instagram page.
Yeah.
And like I was commenting before, you put out some very powerful messages, but the thing is that for one person, they may not hear it the way another person does.
Right.
And it's kind of like the therapy aspect. People go to therapy and may not connect with the first therapist, and then they go, therapy doesn't work for me. No, you just got to keep pushing through until you find that one person who works for you.
Yeah.
It's finding that voice in your life that goes, that's my beacon. That's my guiding point. Who's going to pull me through all this?
Right. No, absolutely. Yeah. What really set me on the right course when I got out of the military, because you're right, it's an absolute identity crisis, whether you're coming out of fire, law enforcement, it doesn't matter. When your identity is within the uniform, and then with that, you go in at such an early age. For me, I went in when I was 18, and I was like a fuck up in high school and everything, just wanted to get out of it. So really my whole developmental years from a kid up until 24 years old was all spent with my boys, all spent with the homies, with a bunch of 18 to 22-year-old monsters with guns. You know what I mean? Like, that's how we grew up. And when you separate from the military, it's this split in your personality. Like, you actually split. A big portion of you is left here, which you'll never get back. And it's very, very, very quiet and silent. And so you have to fill that other side with something. And it was drugs, just alcohol, sleeping around. It doesn't matter. It just didn't really fill that void. And so what really helped me, even though I was growing an audience, I was recording content, I was speaking, but I was still feeling empty. And I connected with a mentor. His name's Andrew Kiev. And I told him my whole story. We sat down, I sent him all the money I had. And I said, here, bro, this is it. I need help. And from there, he just said, this is the blueprint. You're going to do boom, 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 this and that. Follow the script. And when people are coming out of the military, they need to understand that they're going through a character reconstruction. So you have to deconstruct everything that you were taught, everything that you are, separate from the military. Like, who are you as a man or a woman at the core? You deconstruct that. You identify the elements that you love about yourself and the elements that you don't like. And you remove the things that you don't like and you replace it with better habits. And then from there, it doesn't matter what your goal is, whether it's business, whether you want to go be a teacher, if you want to go be a plumber, you go be the best, because that's the whole point of this game. And that's one thing that he taught me. It's the pursuit of excellence is the antidote to chaos. So when you have that void and that split, what's the answer to it? You can fill it with the empty stuff of drugs, coke, women, whatever, but really it's pursuing excellence internally. You helping people with this podcast, like, this is the pursuit of excellence for sure. And it's just trying to be the best wherever you're at. But yeah, that's what he did. That's what he did for me. He realigned me for sure. He was just that, because we all need a brother. We all need somebody. A lot of these people think that you're just going to lone wolf your way through life. And I tried doing that forever. Even when I was in the military and I was still around my homies, I was still alone because I was never truly authentically myself until I got out. And then I met him and we laid it all out on the table. But oh yeah, everyone needs a friend, someone to pick them up. And who you surround yourself with really determines your future for sure. And a lot of these dudes, when they get out of the military, myself included, we surround ourselves with like the wrong people. You don't know what to do. Your identity's split. And yeah, it's a journey. It's a journey. But if you make it, once you walk through that darkness, you can help other people walk through the same. Because you can only help people through problems that you yourself have solved for yourself authentically anyways.
You bring up a great point, and it's something that I've said before, is that the one thing we're taught from day one, going in the military, going in the first responder community, there's nothing that we do alone. Everything that we do is as a team. But you just said something that, again, it's always those little pieces. I was at jiu-jitsu this morning, and one guy was showing a move, and the professor, he made a joke. He goes, Jesus, jiu-jitsu, you never stop learning. Because there's always a little extra piece. And what you said really kind of resonated with me is that, yeah, we do everything as a team in the sense of a physicalness. Yeah. There's another person with you.
Yeah.
But if you don't know yourself and you don't know what your journey is, your inside is not there as part of the team.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. You're not there. You're physically there, but you're actually not there. And then it's this weird feeling where you have this sense of camaraderie, but they don't even really know you. And so they just know a version of you that you push out. So then you're accepted. And so you fit in, but you yourself don't know yourself. So when you start to really deconstruct who you are, you really get to piece together like your true self. And then you can become an offering for other people authentically. That's it. But it's difficult. It's difficult to have that kind of perspective and to look back and be like, dang, I haven't been real my whole fucking life.
It's hard. It's hard having that maturity, like you said, at 18 years old, to know how to market who the true person is, as opposed to, man, I don't feel like they're going to dig me for the real me. So let me put on this mask per se, so that I fit in with this group.
Right. Exactly. And I didn't do that until I got out. I was 24. I was like a grown man, like that's what, I didn't know shit. I just was out in the military, went to Afghanistan, did our little thing out there. And yeah, I was stepping into the military with a lot of baggage and past issues from childhood, just growing up with a rough stepdad and stuff, like beat the hell out of my mom. Myself too, just, it's interesting how something like that just aligns your whole life and it follows you until you decide to just turn around and face it. Because war was easy, really, for me, because I was a warrior before I went to war. I was just, immature. That's it. And so it wasn't until I got out where I had nobody. There was no uniform. There was no guns. There was no nothing. Like I had to sit with myself. It was
nothing to hide.
There was nothing to hide behind. Yeah. Drugs didn't matter. Sleeping in my car, dead, broke, poor, the whole thing just, it didn't matter. Like I had to face myself and what was there. And that's ultimately what pushed me closer with Jesus and God too, was because in those times when I got out and I decided to go all in on my business and what it is that I was doing, building my personal brand, spending a lot of nights sleeping in my car. I was in there with the Bible on my chest, just because I knew I had demons in me. I went through PTSD and like trauma therapy and stuff, but all of that was just to kind of do it, just because I was forced to. But I never really sat down and did the work myself, like alone. Because you can go there and have a therapist talk to you and everything, and you're just giving her whatever the hell you want her to know about you. And then it's like, okay, thanks, I can leave. Like, thanks, all right, I fulfilled my requirement. I can get back to fucking work. Because yeah, when I was getting out of the military, I was fucking mad. I was angry. I was spiraling out of control. I was fucking pissed off. I didn't give a fuck about anything, but it was really all internalized. That's it. I wasn't angry at people. I was angry at me. And no, when I got out, I was forced to sit with that. And it was incredibly painful, but it was through that pain that really kind of just opened me back up again. That's it. It's all just been a journey with just reconnecting with yourself. Because when you get out of the military, your shit's going to split. And if you try to anchor onto these false idols and these vices and the alcohol and the drugs and everything, you're just going to find more emptiness, and it's going to lead down a very, 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 very dark road, and I've traveled that before. And so really the only way through these rough situations in life is just to pick a goal that forces you in your pursuit of it to become a better person. That's it. Like, who gives a fuck about, the goal can be having a $20 million house, but it's the person you become. It's that journey. It's the process. And that's something that the military gives us, is that structure. It's that training. It's the discipline. It's the purpose. It's the mission. That's what you need. You can recreate that. People don't need to be in the military for that. They can get out of their lives and structure their life. So when they wake up, they know what they're going to do. And it's all aligned towards a greater purpose and a greater mission. It's like their North Star. And like I said, that can be being the best podcast host, the best teacher, the best plumber, the best janitor or CEO. It doesn't fucking matter. As long as it genuinely moves you internally, you can't stay depressed and in fear when you have motivation and purpose and motion. And that was what cured it, along with God for sure. But it's just picking that goal again and then saying, I'm going to pick myself up, and I'm fucking tired of just sitting in the trench. And that's it. And then you just go change. And that's it.
Well, we've already started scratching the surface of your transition out. So let's paint the whole picture.
Yeah.
Talk to me about, where's hometown? Where'd you grow up? What was it like as a young boy growing up?
Okay. Yeah. So I was born in San Juan, Puerto Rico. I moved to the US, I think when I was 6, 7-ish, don't really remember. And then growing up, like I said, my mom, she divorced my biological father, went with my stepdad. He was the abusive one. And I had a couple of step siblings. So I have 2 sisters and a brother. And then I had step, siblings from him. But anyways, yeah, growing up.
Where do you fall in the pecking order as far as
I'm
age?
I'm the oldest, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm the oldest. And yeah, just growing up, honestly, it wasn't a fun time. Yeah, that's for sure. It wasn't a fun time. It was interesting. He was a narcissist for sure, abusive. He had his own thing going on. The physical stuff didn't really, I learned how to turn that off pretty quick. You just become bulletproof after a while.
Were you the target because you were the oldest?
Or
was were all of you?
It was just like everybody, really, just my mom, really. And then for me, what really hurt, it was just it's the emotional stuff. That's it. Because as a kid, we have this innocence to us when you're children, where you just get back up and you keep going. That's it. It's like, oh, okay, you don't understand what you're looking at. You don't understand what it is that you're feeling. So when you're rejected, you don't have the emotional tools or the maturity to understand that it isn't you and it's the person, and to walk away and to stop trying. So you keep trying, and keep trying, and keep failing, and keep failing. And you never really get that love that you're looking for. And so, yeah, as kids, you internalize that and you think, oh, it's because of me. But anyways, yeah, growing up was it was a lot of just emotional trauma. That's it, abandonment for sure. Yeah, it was interesting. The only thing I really remember is just always being just locked in my room. That's it. Speaking to my sister through like the air vent. It was insane. But yeah.
A self-imposed prison, like
No.
just to get away from it? Or you guys were told, go in your room, don't come out?
That was it. Yeah, it wasn't just go in your room, don't come out. Like the doorknob was turned around and locked from the outside. So I don't ever remember anyone opening it. Like I don't really have too many good childhood memories. I have a picture in my mind of one. It was me and my mom. We went to, I think it was Universal, and there was Jurassic Park was there, and there's a huge T-Rex and everything. It was just me and her, and I was in a stroller. That's what I remember about my childhood. It wasn't really any memories. It was a photo of it. And I feel like that was when I was at my happiest for sure.
Before we started recording, you mentioned family is in Texas. So is that where your mom and biological dad first landed after Puerto Rico?
No. So my mom split with my biological father because I believe he just didn't want to come to the U.S. So he's a good man. Oh yeah, he's great. Yeah, he's a good dude.
So your biological dad stayed in Puerto Rico?
He stayed in Puerto Rico, did his own thing. But yeah, my mom came to the States, and so she's in Texas. She remarried, good dude and everything. That's where all my siblings are at too. I split from them after high school. As soon as I was about to finish high school, my mom, she was in the academic system, so I could have gone to school for free, but I felt like I needed to go grow up. So that's when 2016, I joined the Navy in August.
As a young boy though, what brought you comfort? What brought you solace? Did you dive into sports? Were you able to play sports? Did you dive into school? I mean, what kind of took you out of your prison, so to speak?
Initially it was my mind. I learned how to develop my happy place. That's it. So I call it like jumping. I learned how to jump in my mind. So whenever I was alone and in isolation, it was just me, I could jump out of that moment and just be living in a reality that was better. It was like a better future. I was holding on to a hope of a better future. I didn't know that's what I was doing until I matured more. But that was my happy place. But I did a lot of judo. I competed nationally, locally in the tournaments and stuff. I'm a 3rd degree brown belt in judo. And that was awesome for sure. That helped me. That's when my mom left the abusive man and she remarried with one of her high school best friends. But yeah, he was actually my coach as well and took me around to all the tournaments.
Your second stepdad.
My second stepdad. Yeah, he was one of the senseis there. And just getting into judo really re-anchored me. And it took all the anger out of me because you learn through martial arts that it's maximum efficiency, minimum effort. And you really don't, guys who really are trained and they know what they're doing, they're not out seeking fights or anything. They're very controlled. They're very emotionally in control. They're soft, they're gentle, they're kind, but they know what they're doing. And judo helped me pull that out because I would also start teaching as I got more mature in the martial art. But yeah, so judo, I did a lot of track, wrestling, football. So I was pretty active. I was pretty active. The thing is that there was always this internal war going on where people would see a version of me that I would want them to see. And no one ever really got to see the full truth of me because the last person that saw it was my stepdad. And what happened was what happened. And so I put up that barrier and that wall. And it was like I know Goggins talks about callousing the mind. He says callous the mind. Like, fuck, I was callousing my mind since I was 7. Yeah.
At what age did your mom and your first stepdad separate?
I remember I was in middle school. Yeah. So I think, 15.
Did you find for yourself, you talk about callous the mind, did you already feel, or did you find yourself in looking back on it that you were already, for no better way to say it, a little too far gone and already against the system, I'll call it? Or did you kind of find a little bit of a reset and go, okay, let me embrace this better life that I'm now in?
That reset didn't happen until I got out of the military, really, until I was like a grown adult. Yeah. So no, I don't know. I kind of just sat with it. That's it. I split. I was gone for sure. I remember sitting down at Chick-fil-A when I think I was 9 or something, maybe a little younger. And I would never cry. I would stop crying because in my mind, I was like, okay, if this person doesn't see me cry, they can't win. And so I became like that stoic, just bulletproof monster. That's it. You will never see me cry. My mom would always see me cry because she can get to me. And I remember telling her, at Chick-fil-A, I said that if it doesn't kill me, it's just making me tougher. And if I can get tough, I can make it. I'm fine. So if it's not killing me, it's just making me tough. And I want to get tough. And she just looked at me, and just the look in her eye, she didn't know what to say. Because she was like, damn, this is what this kid's thinking. And it's not her fault. She had other kids and then stepchildren she was taking care of. She was going through her own thing. Like I remember just looking under the door, and I would see her get beat sometimes. And she's just doing her thing. That was it. So you can't ever knock her. That's the thing. She did what she had to do. She provided for everybody as best as she could. But oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Did it ever get this walls you were building up, for no better way to describe it? Did it ever get to a point where you were on a path of either self-destruction or potential trouble before you went to the military?
Oh yeah, 110%. Yeah. So this wall that I built up a wall around like the self-doubt and the confusion and the self-worth because, I was trying to chase a dad that never really picked me because he would pick my older stepbrothers, he would take them everywhere and not me. And I would just remember looking outside the window of my room at him leaving to go do stuff with them when I just wanted that to be me because I never had a dad, that was it. And I loved him for whatever the reason is. But it was self-destructive for sure. I remember a lot of depression for sure. Thoughts of just, okay, maybe I'm just better off not being here anymore. I remember that was my first thought of that was in middle school. I was standing in the kitchen and I had a kitchen knife. And I remember I was just growing up and it was always just a trouble in school. I didn't know why. I was trying my best. I was going into sports, but yet I would set myself up for failure, getting bad grades and stuff, just being a loudmouth in class, all the other nonsensical shit. And I remember just how much stress I would put under my mom because she was wanting me to win. She wanted me to go win. I was getting in a lot of trouble. And I remember I just made the decision that like, man, I'm becoming just as bad as my stepdad because I'm causing my mom pain. Like I'm seeing her cry. And I remember seeing her cry because of him. So I must be like him. That's what I was thinking. And I was very guilty. So I remember, I was standing in the kitchen and I don't remember how old I was, but yeah, I grabbed a kitchen like steak knife. And I remember thinking like, okay, could I do this? And I pressed it up against my skin. And normally I did it like research and studying before that, like on my phone or on my computer or whatever. I was like, okay, could you kill yourself with this, is it normal to feel this way? And somewhere in a study, it said that for people who are quote unquote normal, who aren't depressed, who aren't suicidal, their brains won't allow them to self-inflict pain. It's like, it sends off signals like, hey, no. But when I put it up against my skin, I didn't feel that. I said, okay, I can't do this. And I don't care because I deserve it. And I pressed it up and it didn't break the skin, but it was just until the point where it was about to break. And I would feel the pain, but that signal didn't go off telling me to stop. It was, okay, you deserve to do that because for whatever the reason is. And then I put it down. And that was just a safety net in my mind. Like, hey, if I keep being a fuck up, I know how to get out. And I know that I have a way out because I'm not afraid of it because I'm tough. It was interesting. So it was definitely self-destructive.
It's interesting to hear you put it in those terms. It is almost kind of like you said, in a weird way, it's almost kind of like doing a press check.
Yes.
I don't need to fire right now, but I need to make sure that when I do need to fire, it's ready to go.
Yeah, I was ready to go. And in my mind, it wasn't just an emotional show. Like I wasn't going to tell anybody. I was ready. It was like, okay, oh yeah, I can do this. And I was contemplating life and death at that point. And that's when death first gripped me, was then. That's when I opened the door. So I have him on my sleeve. That's like the Reaper right there, his wing, but then there's Christ above it. And that just goes into combat and war, just my whole story. But yeah, he first originally grabbed me in that moment. That's when depression opened up and hit me for sure. Mm-hmm.
Were you thinking about, could you even see yourself beyond high school as a young boy?
No. I was taking it moment to moment. I was in the trenches for sure. Yeah, I was at war within my own self. That was it. Because I was already out of the situation with the, abusive stepfather. And this dude was great. My mom's new one. He was great. But
inside you weren't letting go of the baggage.
Oh, no. Yeah. No. There was, that war was just starting. Oh, yeah. And it just got worse and worse and worse and worse because as I got older, I was still holding on to that person that I needed to be to survive and internally and mentally and emotionally. And that person was so far from who I actually am because my mom raised me to be soft and gentle. and just watching her and everything. It was always just to be kind-hearted and love. That's it. But I was all from that. I was just anger and hate. That's it. And just darkness. But it wasn't ever externalized and outwardly projected. It was all inwardly like built up until it just started eating away at me. But oh yeah.
I would say, and obviously I'm not a psychologist, but I can relate to a level. I've said this before to people. Mm-hmm. I'm thankful for my father. I'm thankful for who I am today because of him. Yeah. But in hindsight, with truly open eyes, what he did would be classified as child abuse.
Yeah.
He was excessive. Mm-hmm. But I can relate when you're talking about, as a young boy, you learned how to just shut the world out. Mm-hmm. And the sad part is that when you were given the opportunity for a better life, that had become such your norm that you didn't have the maturity to understand how to unlock that door and step out. Inside you, it sounds like you were still in that room with the doorknob switched around, waiting for somebody else to open that door.
Yeah, that's what this is. That's what this tattoo is right here. So what actually got me going was I remember the moment that I had sucked myself into that room was when nobody was there. It was just me and him. That's it. My mom, she wasn't at home. I think she was at work or something. And I asked him for help. It was something small. And I'd never seen anger before like that. I mean, I've been hit, sure, but like I've been punched. I didn't really care. But he was sitting in the chair, and then before I can even like blink, he was in front of me. And then he grabbed my face and leaned me over the couch. And he says, "One of these days, I'm just going to kill you." He said that. And I remember looking into his eyes, and I felt just how weak I was. And I hated myself for being weak. But when I saw it, that is the moment that I felt Johann, this is me, that kid, get sucked out. And then I got put into that dark room. And it was like, okay, I need to become tough. And then I need to become strong, because I may need not to defend myself, but he said he was going to kill me. So, okay, if it doesn't kill me, it's just making me tougher. And that's the moment that I checked out of my life, really. And I lived in this little room, I guess you could say, callousing my mind. Yeah.
You mentioned that you had 3 older stepbrothers?
Two. Mm-hmm.
Were they received, but they were his biological children?
Yeah, they didn't know. They were fine. They were great.
What was your relationship with them? I mean, were you able to confide in them about what was going on, or did
No, everyone just kind of like pretended like nothing was happening. That's it. Yeah. But no, they kind of knew. Actually, I don't talk to them. That's the thing, But yeah, growing up, we were fine. There wasn't any animosity or anything. I just was never really like them. There was them, and then there was me. That's it, like a misfit.
Got it.
Yeah, that's what I became. I was a misfit. Yeah, one of my posts, it was right before we got to Afghanistan. We were just waiting in Kuwait. And we snapped this photo, and the caption's like misfit. And it's interesting looking back at how I felt then. I was still, even as a man going to war, I was still that little kid who always felt like a misfit. So I got older and I got tougher, but I never actually changed. And it wasn't until I got out that I changed.
What year did you graduate high school?
2016.
And when did you know that the military was your path?
Right before I graduated. Yeah, it was... So I think I graduated early in December, something like that, or before, a couple months before. But yeah, I remember seeing the Boston Marathon bombing, and I remember getting really, really angry. And I was like, okay, I want to go to war. That's what I want to do, because those guys are evil, and I want to go do bad things to evil people. That's what I wanted to do. Mm-hmm.
How'd you settle on the Navy?
What do you mean?
Well, you went to the Navy, correct?
Oh, yeah.
What I'm getting at is, of the branches,
okay,
how did you pick the Navy?
Oh, how did I? Oh, okay. I told my mom I wanted to join the military, and at first I wanted to be infantry marine, but she was like, no, you should you want to do medicine and be a doctor. So I looked up corpsman, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. And I can go with the Marines. Got it. I'm going to backdoor my way with being, and that's what I did.
I'll show my mom.
Yeah, I'll show my mom. And that's what I did. And I remember I enlisted, and she was sad, but I just needed to go. That's it. So I just decided, just because my mom didn't want me to be a Marine. So I went and joined as a corpsman. Mm-hmm.
Now, going in as a corpsman, is that something that you still need to score well on ASVABs? Or is it something like not many people want to be corpsmen? So if you walk in saying, I want to be a corpsman, they're like, let's go.
I think it's like medium, maybe. I don't know. I had to retake my ASVAB. Yeah, so I retook it because I didn't qualify for corpsman. So I retook it and then I qualified. Yeah. So I mean, maybe I was just dumb. I don't know.
You didn't apply yourself is what it was.
Yeah, I know.
What year did you go in?
2016, August.
So you basically, did you do actually a delayed entry or were you 18 at the time?
I was 18 at the time. Yeah, I think I was in delayed entry for a few months, maybe. That's it. I think my mom helped me get in or something. But yeah, and then I left pretty soon after.
Going in, did you think that it was going to be something lengthy? Or in your mind, let me get through an enlistment, then I'll reevaluate after that?
Honestly, originally I wanted to do 20 years because I just wanted to escape. That was it. I just wanted to get out of there. I just wanted to get out of my life situation and just myself. That's it. I wanted to create, honestly, what it was deep down is I wanted to create as much separation between me and my family because I can feel I was going to explode, like implode. And so I said, okay, I'm going to create some distance. I'm going to join the military, go to war. That's what I wanted to do.
Ended up in Great Lakes in August?
Yeah, sometime around there. Yeah, August.
Definitely not the
September.
winter.
Yeah, no, not the winter. No. It was summer. It was great. Yeah, Great Lakes was fun. Boot camp was just learning the basics. That was it. It wasn't too hard, not too easy. It was just a monotonous little thing.
You had mentioned playing sports, so were you already somewhat physically fit?
Yeah, I was fit. I was never really the best at anything. I was just kind of top middle of the pack. That's it. But yeah, it was fine. Yeah, it was fine.
How long is corpsman school?
I think 16 weeks. And I went to Fort Sam Houston, San Antonio. Yeah, that was awesome.
So back home to Texas?
Back home to Texas. Yeah, back home to Texas.
I want to join the military and get away from home, and they send me back home.
And then back home to Texas. Yeah, that was fun. I like that. Yeah, it was interesting. I really loved going through corpsman school because I felt like I was doing something with my life. I felt like it was an escape. I didn't have to think about nothing. I was pretty happy, I'd say, just because I was learning new information. I was learning stuff that I knew I was going to apply. Because even when I was going through corpsman school, I remember telling one of my instructors, I'm going to Afghanistan. And they just kind of laughed. They were just like, oh, yeah, I guess we'll see. And I was like, no, I'm going to Afghanistan. That's it. And so I remember trying to be the best, just trying to be the best medically. And we had this little lab where they did a little intro to field med kind of thing where we were doing tourniquets and stuff. And I can put the tourniquets on the fastest and I could take it off the fastest and put it on. And I got this like deck of cards. And this deck of cards was all the corpsmen that had paid the ultimate sacrifice. And I remember just keeping one card in my wallet. It was a senior chief, a SEAL. And I was like, yeah, he was in Afghanistan. I'm going there too. That's it. And I just made the decision. And then, yeah.
Now, when you choose the corpsman route, do you then get the option to choose whether you're going to deploy with a Marine Corps unit or get assigned to like a ship as a Navy corpsman?
I think when I was going through, if you were in the top, like I think 5 or top 10 in your class, you got to request or pick orders. Everybody got to request orders. I wanted 1st Marine Division. And so that's what I picked. You know, I wasn't top of my class at all. I was kind of, like I said, just under. But yeah, I got fortunate enough to be able to pick. And I went to 29 Palms, 1st Marine Division.
Oh, you're lucky.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Out there, man. But every time I would tell people, yeah, I'm going to 29 Palms, they were like, oh, dude, I'm sorry. And I was like, what do you mean? It's like 29. I didn't know what it was. So, and I'd never been.
Sounds nice.
Yeah, and I'd never been to California. So I thought, man, 29 Palms. And I would just imagine the sun, the beach. There was like, you know, a couple of palm trees in the back. And I was like, I'm going to be with the Marines. Like, all this is going to be awesome. And then I got there. I was like, fuck.
And you didn't realize the face of the moon is actually in Southern California.
Yeah, no, it was a wasteland. But it's what I needed. I wanted to be away from everything. So they sent me there.
When was your first deployment and was it to Afghanistan?
Yeah, it was to Afghanistan. That was it. I only went on one deployment when I was there. Yeah, I was with 3rd LAR, Light Armored Reconnaissance Battalion. And I spent a little bit of time there. And then, I just got word that, hey, a neighboring unit is letting go of like a corpsman from the platoon and they're about to go to Afghanistan in a month. And so they need a corpsman. And I remember just going to my senior chief's office at NAVPERS. And I said, hey, I'm not leaving till you give me orders I'm going to Afghanistan. That's it. And so he called his HM1 in there, the senior, like, you know, one of his dudes, the leadership there. But anyways, LPO, that's what it's called. And we had a little interview there. I was sending out attention the whole time and they were asking me, why the fuck should you go? Blah, 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 blah. And I ended up just moving. That's it. And there were so many people that wanted to go to Afghanistan, like all these dudes that had been in for, 7-8 years who just haven't had a combat deployment yet. And yeah, I was a little shithead when I was in the military, though. I didn't give a fuck. I was angry. I was pissed off, but people didn't know why I had a chip on my shoulder, but I knew why I had a chip on my shoulder. And that's when I was first starting to try to prove to myself that I wasn't this like piece of shit that I always felt like. And so, but that chip on my shoulder would just hit people the wrong way, and it had nothing to do with them. It had everything to do with me, because I was still figuring out who the fuck I was. But oh yeah, I would rub people the wrong way. And so I tried to embody this like false sense of confidence and competency before I even got in. And but yeah, I got my shit kicked in a lot. Yeah.
Well, and not to state the over obvious, but if you're fighting internal demons,
Mm-hmm.
your natural disposition is probably going to be being an asshole.
Yeah.
And even if you don't understand why people aren't gravitating towards you,
Yeah.
it's in hindsight, it's probably pretty easy to figure out why they were always annoyed with you.
Yeah. There would be, I was split though. It was because people either really loved me or they hated me. And if they hated me, it's because I would identify things in people and I'd be like, oh yeah, fuck you. You're bad. Like, I'm not getting around you. Like assholes, like the dudes who thought they were greater than shit. I would always have a problem with them. But the dudes who were close to me and they trusted me and I trusted them and I knew who they were, we were always solid. I was always down for them, always, riding with them. I had an HM3. His name is HM3 Mantor, Alex Mantor. Yeah, I think he's a doctor now. But he was my first ever true mentor, like a positive male role model in my life for sure. And he said, this is how you move as an FMF corpsman. We're not going to be fat as fuck. We're not sleeping in the barracks room. We're in the front with our Marines. We're carrying the guns. We're shooting with them. Like, this is what it means. Fuck everybody else. This is how you do it. And so I embodied it 110%. But I took it to the next level. And when he was like, fuck everybody else, I would just tell them, yeah, fuck you, because you're fat as fuck. And there's nothing that you have that I want to trade up for. You're not even a good corpsman. But I was saying that to HM3s, HM2s and shit like that who couldn't. It was fucking crazy. I don't know what was wrong with me. But man, that dude, he would jump in the fire for me and he pulled me out of so much trouble, like where I should have gotten NJP'd, masted, just like everything. And he would pull me out of the fire every time. And it was awesome. He was a fucking G. Oh yeah, they would beat the fuck out of me though in the platoon. Oh, for sure.
And you've talked about this and you've mentioned it already, that your eyes opening and your awakening didn't come until you left the military.
Yeah.
But once you were separated from the family that you felt you needed to get away from, and I know this is going to come across as a very rhetorical question.
Yeah.
You got yourself in a ringer a couple times that your mentor had to pull you out.
Yeah.
There was never that point of, man, just need to square my shit away and pull my head out of my ass.
I would try, but then I would just get sucked back in. I would self-sabotage. I was in a vicious cycle and I didn't know how to stop it because I would do really, really, really good. I was always like, I was there. In my first training mission, we had an LAV roll over in Pendleton at night in a night drive. It was our first blackout night drive in the hills in Camp Pendleton. And one of our platoons rolled the Vic down the side of this like 35, 40 foot thing, like hill. And I was the only corpsman there. And I remember pulling and dragging dudes up the hill. I triaged, treated. I got videos of my boy in the back of the Vic with like a neck fucking brace on, is like triaged everything. And before they could send corpsmen to come respond to it, I had all 6 people treated, done. It was all solid. I just entered this flow state. And it was because of that HM3's teachings. And I remember we were in the back of the Vic on the way to Camp Pendleton ER. With a mass casualty. And I remember calling him like, yo, this just fucking happened. Boom, 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 boom. And he was like, dude, good shit. I always knew you can do it. So I was doing good shit with my job, but then something would happen where I'd rub shoulders wrong with somebody and I would just get sucked back into it. And I would just fucking self-sabotage almost. Like it's not that I was scared of being great. I don't know what the fuck was going on, honestly. But yeah, I had that moment where I was like, man, I need to fucking change. I'm trying to change. And it was like, that was a common theme in the career throughout my whole time. I didn't really give a fuck about, at some point I made the switch. I didn't give a shit about picking up a rank or doing anything. I just wanted to be a good doc and then leave. That's it, and get the fuck out. But yeah, if I can go back, I wouldn't change a thing because I needed those harsh life lessons to finally all hit when I left the military, when I was alone. Then they all hit.
What year were you in Afghanistan?
2018. Mm-hmm.
And not that I want this for the story, but where I'm going in my head is, So you had that incident during a training mission where you handled your business very well, took care of everybody, got things under control, didn't lose your cool. I would imagine that, to downplay it a little bit, because it was only a training operation, maybe you didn't get as much credit as you deserved, per se. Yeah. I'm giving a 30,000 foot view in my mind of where I'm at with this. Yeah. But once you're deployed, did you have an incident where you were on it, cool, calm, collected, took care of everything, and got almost that praise of how good you were? Because in my head, I'm going back to you being a little boy, and you didn't get that affirmation as a kid. Mm-hmm. You put yourself 100% into being the best corpsman you could. I'm assuming for a little bit, what you just needed was somebody to come up, put their hand on your shoulder and said, you killed it. You rocked it. You did a great job. Yeah. Did you never get that?
I would. That one senior chief Chartier, I'm pretty sure he's a master chief now, but yeah, senior chief Chartier at the time, he was that dude who would pull me into his office and tell me that I'm doing good. But the times that he had to pull me into his office because I was fucking up, doing dumb shit, telling, staff sergeants go fuck themselves because I didn't like how they were treating my guys or something like that. Or I was rubbing shoulders with, it was the pieces of shit in the clinic that were just total dirtbags, total pieces of shit. They were skating off in their rooms all the time. They were just like fat as fuck because they went to Japan and they came back on a Mew thinking that they were hot shit. And I was like, no, fuck you. You're not, you're not going to like treat me that way. And you're not going to treat, it was interesting. I didn't know anything about hazing and I didn't know that it was just part of the in-doc. So when they were doing it to me, I could just remember what I went through before. And I was like, I'm not fucking going through that again. Fuck you. I'll kill you. Like that's just in my mind, like it was interesting. It was crazy. But yeah, I had him. He was there, but it wasn't enough. It needed to come from me.
To a degree, even though you're assigned to a Marine unit, is there ultimately at the end of the day a little bit of that, hey, you're Navy, we're Marines?
No, not in the infantry anyways. No, it was the Marines. If you're a good doc, they fucking love you. That's it. The way that I can kind of skate and play the line was with my hair. I can grow my hair out really long. And anytime that the Marine gunnies would try and say something, it's like, oh, I'm in the Navy. Fuck you. Do whatever the fuck I want. Can't fucking touch me. But, yeah, I put my fucking hands in the fire. Anytime there was like where I identified it was poor leadership, people trying to do just shitbag things that they shouldn't have been doing. I was always the one that's saying, hey, you can't fucking do that, and it would put me in the fire. And then instead of subordinating my ego and understanding that there's rank positions or whatever, I doubled down and I said, no, I'm not breaking. I'm not falling back again. And, it's subordination of ego. That's what I call it. I didn't learn how to subordinate my ego till I got out of the military. With my mentor. It took
many of us don't learn that until we're much older.
Oh yeah.
And for many of us, way too late in life.
Yeah, it was fucking painful, but I needed it. I needed it for sure. But yeah, it was that pat on the shoulder. But going back to your question of if I ever got that moment in Afghanistan, yeah. So there were a couple mass casualties we had, just the Afghan, the ANAs. We weren't really there doing any sort of crazy door kicking or anything like that. It wasn't necessarily like that. No, we were just training, advising, and assisting. And at that time, the ANA were trying to take back portions of Eastern Helmand province that the Taliban had taken over. And so we were kind of in the hub of it. So we weren't on the big Camp Leatherneck. We were out in the fucking middle of nowhere in this small little camp. And on this little friendly zone map, if everything's all green, for good, and then yellow's bad and red, we were in the red and black, which is just all fucked up and surrounded. The Taliban took over all of it. And then in the center was our little camp. And the ANA would do their combat operations out of there. And those guys would just get fucked up. Every single week, every day they would get absolutely torched. And it was just insane. So we were busy. Cumulatively, all of us put together, me and my Marines included, we treated triple digit combat injured casualties. Solo, I treated 62 is what the report says. But yeah, there were mass casualties. My first patient was actually it was a Taliban soldier that we had captured. Yeah. And the Afghan doctors and actually doctors, but in this little shed that we had captured him, and they brought him back and they were going to kill him, in that moment I was like, no, we're not going to kill him. We're going to save him. And that was my first good look at like evil right there in the eyes. Oh yeah. That latched onto me. I don't know why that did, just seeing that kind of evil and darkness in his eyes. Cause I knew he wanted to kill me. And I just remember just like looking at my, in my stepdad's eyes, and they were it was the same eyes. It was insane. It was fucking crazy. But yeah, my first casualty ever was the enemy. I think that was God testing me and like seeing my heart posture. That's it. Yeah. Because I anchored to that moment too. Anytime I was, having issues when I got home, thinking I wasn't a good human, I wasn't a good man, like I don't deserve God's love and stuff, I would remember in that moment saving my enemies, and in the Bible it says that you pray over your enemies and, you turn a cheek to them and you help them out. Anybody, just checking your heart. And, it was interesting. But yeah, I had some praise out there for sure. We were busy. It didn't matter if it was 1 p.m., 1 a.m. when we got the call that there were casualties coming in. Me and my boys we were ready for sure.
And I know I've asked this, and I just, again, I'm saying this more rhetorically. Never a moment to that level, putting yourself in a position of saving another human who on paper is your enemy.
Yes.
At the end of the day, he's just another human being. Just
another dude, like if I met him at a Burger King, would I want to kill him or would he want to kill me? Who knows? But yeah, but they did some fucked up shit on that deployment for sure. The Taliban did.
Yeah. And in no way am I trying to say,
but I know what you mean.
Because I think it takes a different breed of person to step up to say, my primary responsibility is life-saving, not life-taking.
Yeah, or just playing the executioner. That's what it was. Because it wasn't necessarily my decision, but nobody was saving him. They were just letting him completely bleed out. But we had stepped onto the scene, and I was there. And there was an HM1 that was with me. He was a senior guy, been on multiple combat deployments. He didn't give a fuck. He was tired. He just wanted to go home. That was it. Wanted to go be an officer. And he told me, hey, I'm going to be real with you. And this is what he taught me, a life lesson as a man too, for sure. He said, I'm going to stand at the foot of the bed and I am not going to fucking help you with shit unless you ask me. And if you ask me, I'm going to take over. And he said, so that's it. And he said, I'm going to stand there and I don't give a fuck if that person dies. I can give a fuck less because this is your deployment, not mine. He said, I've been here 8-10 times. This shit's easy as fuck. And I was like, oh shit. Okay. And so I would look to him.
It's almost like, then why stand there?
Yeah, no, he just like, he would jump in. He would help for sure. He just wanted me to know like, okay, because you can tell my personality. He was like, okay, you want to do it on your own? All right. So I'm going to stand at the foot of the bed.
A little reverse psychology.
Yeah. And he said, I'm not going to fucking help you. If you ask me for help, I'm going to take over. And then you can sit back and watch. And so I never asked him for any help at all. Never.
You didn't have to tell me that part. Just listening to your story to this point, I can almost imagine you're like, you could be over your head in it. And you're like, I'm not asking it.
Yeah, no, it was awesome. He would just let me flow. He would take his own casualties and stuff. He just needed me to just understand, that was it. It was a good, valuable lesson, but there were some times where he would let me drown, and that was it. And I'd just go down with the ship and that was that. But, yeah, it was awesome. I love doing medicine and I love saving and helping people's lives. I touched like so many people, and I remember holding the hand of this one Afghan. He was dying. He had it was like partial leg amputation, shot a couple times. Just clearly he was just gonna die, And I remember just holding his hand, and he was afraid. And I remember telling him like, "Hey, you're not going to die today." And I was just looking in his eyes, and I prayed over him, and he knew that I was praying. And although he believes in something separate than I, like in that moment, it didn't matter. And he just accepted that prayer, you know what I mean? And then I went to work and then I did my job. That was it. But yeah, seeing that many people injured and broken and just looking into the eyes of all these people, it definitely made an impression on me. It changed me for sure. And it's given me the ability now to where I'm life coaching, to where when I'm sitting on these calls and I'm listening to these people's stories, just by looking at, I can feel what it is that they're going. I can just see past what it is that is presented to me and look at the deeper issue. So in combat trauma medicine, you're taught not to just get tunnel vision on the one thing. There's a step process. There's things that will kill your patient first, and there's an order to it. There's massive hemorrhage, and then there's the airway compromise, then there's the circulation in the chest, and so on and so forth. And you get to see things from a much deeper level. And when I look into these clients' eyes and stuff, and they're telling me their stories, I can feel it. It's just something, I can just feel it. And it's just my connection with God. That's it. 100%.
During that deployment, was that when you started thinking about giving a run at the SEALs a try, or was that when you came back?
That was, it was before. It was before. Yeah. I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to go be a SEAL. Yeah. I was in class 345. Yeah. And I quit in Hell Week. Mm-hmm.
I was just the PFQ, just getting to it.
Just getting to it, that took forever. I needed to have a bunch of waivers and stuff because I had small red blood cells and they thought I was anemic or something. And so I had to jump through all these hoops for like 2 years. And then finally got the chance to run after Afghanistan. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now, we talked earlier about your connection to Dawn and Deep End Fitness as a prep course for that. So were you not comfortable in the water, or were you already surfing at that point? Or
yeah, I was surfing. Yeah, I was what had me leave, honestly, was I saw one of my best buds quit in Hell Week, and then I had those moments of, again, it was a self-sabotage. It hit me. I was like, oh, I'm close. I can do that. And it just scared me. And I just quit. That was it. Yeah, but going through Don's course, I remember hitting him up. I messaged Deep End Fitness, and I let them know, hey, this is what I'm doing. I'm in the military. I'm out in 29 Palms. And so I drove out, and and I met Dawn and Prime, and just seeing like that kind of level of warrior. That was my first time ever seeing those kind of guys. Raiders, just like true G's, where they don't hold their heads up higher than anybody else. They lead from within the trenches. Like they uplift people by pushing them to be more, and they lead from the back, but their character leads from the front, and that's what they showed me that too. But
how far into your first enlistment did you actually get a shot at buds?
That was my 3rd year, 4th year, something like that. Yeah, 3rd year.
When you get that opportunity to go, does that mandate that you sign another enlistment or anything like that?
Yeah, I knew yes, it's supposed to, but I knew the Master Chief that was down there who, if you quit or you get dropped or whatever, you have to go back and see that person, and you get paperwork, and you normally have to extend for a while. I was saying, hey, I want to get out. I'm not trying, because you have to extend. Like I think for every week in training is like, or every day, some shit like that, where every week in training is like a few months that's added onto your contract. And I was like, fuck, I'm not trying to stay in the Navy for this long. So yeah, we had like heart to heart, and I didn't pick up advancement. I didn't take my advancement exam seriously because I wanted to get the fuck out. And so she helped me out. And so they pushed my EAS only like 10 months out. And it was supposed to be like another year or 2 almost, or some shit like that. But yeah, generally when you sign a contract going to buds, if you don't make it, you pay back the time spent in training with time in the Navy, for sure. Luckily, I had a rate though. A lot of these dudes who are coming in out of the fleet with no rate, they go in with the buds contract and then they don't make it, and then they're fucked. They're in the
needs
Navy.
Of the Navy.
Yeah, they're needs of the Navy, and they're fucked. I'm glad that I did my thing, went to Afghanistan, did everything I wanted to do, and then I got there and I did that.
And so then you got reassigned back to a unit for the last 10 months?
I went back I couldn't go Greenside, so I went to a hospital or a small clinic up in Camp Pendleton. It was by 1st Recon over there, 52 area branch clinic, somewhere over there, yeah.
At that point, though, you were done? No chance that you would have extended even just one more enlistment?
I was trying to hold on to it, like maybe I should stay in. I was depressed. That was the first time that, since I was a kid, I'd never quit on myself. I was always just like boom, 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 chugging. And then when I quit, that kind of fractured me, because I was like, oh, I quit on myself. And that was the first time that I'd ever quit. And so yeah, I wanted to go back, but that's when shit started to unravel for me, because it wasn't the fact that I quit. It opened up what was inside of me. Because the reason why I did was because I didn't feel like I deserved to win. That's ultimately when I ended up exploring that moment of failure in my life. It was, I didn't deserve to win. That was it. I didn't deserve to do it. And that's what opened me up, was that.
I know you mentioned that your buddy during Buds quit, and that was really kind of like, all right, the door opened for me. I'm going to walk through it. I'm going to quit.
Yeah.
Had you considered it up to that point?
No, because it was just me and him. We were just cruising. That was it. And then I felt like, again, like, oh, I'm alone. That's what I felt like. It was so fucking weird. Yeah, we were tired though too. That's the thing. Everyone makes excuses. Yeah, you're tired of Hell Week. Yeah, no, it was awesome. Those dudes are like, they're fucking savages.
They send you at home every night. Like, yeah, 8 hours sleep.
Yeah, no.
Check back tomorrow.
No, it was awesome. I was a little asshole once again, I was a little fucking asshole to one of the instructors there. We were doing a room inspection, and he told me, they took a look at my ribbon rack, and he just like kind of threw it to the side and stuff. But they didn't treat me better than anyone, but it was just this small little sliver of respect because I had a little bit of life experience, not anything by comparison to them, but they knew like, okay, in comparison to a regular bud student, this dude's not a complete fucking dickhead. He still is an idiot because you go there and you don't know shit about life. You know,
because the majority of them coming through are coming in on a SEAL contract where they've gone straight from enlistment to boot camp to buds, right?
Yeah. Or they're coming from the fleet and they're just not. Very few times they have people coming in with a little bit of combat experience. And I was in that little community for a while going through this. I was TAD down there to Coronado for a long time, for a year. So I got to know a couple of the senior chiefs over there and shit. And it was great. Those guys are amazing. And then, but anyways, during this one room inspection, one of the instructors came in and he was like, yeah, like all your hangers are wrong. Like the clothes are facing the wrong way. And I don't know what possessed me, but I like took the piece of paper and I said, no, like, look, this is how it's supposed to. Oh man, it was fucking crazy. Like I actually triggered him though. I can tell that I triggered him for real. Cause
there's a hornet's nest. Let me kick it.
Yeah, no, but it wasn't an instructor that came out of him. It was a warrior. Like, you're a fucking piece of shit. I'm telling you what to do. And you're just going to just like talk to me like, no, that's not how that's going to work. And I triggered him and I could see it in his eyes. Cause I've seen that. I've been to war. I've seen the dudes like that. And I saw that I hit him and he wanted to fucking hurt me. And I remember he just picked me up and he took my helmet and he smashed it against the floor and it cracked. And I went through the rest of the first phase with that helmet cracked and everything. And from then on, like, I just got smoked. That's it. And it was just it was great though. I loved it. Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah, it was fucking crazy. Yeah, I don't know what the fuck was wrong with me, but it was great. It was great. That experience was awesome. Just like the camaraderie there. It's a great program. It's just anyone who's like actually trying to go do something for real, go do that. Just go run for a few months. That's it. Zone 2 heart rate stuff. Just become strong. Shoulders, legs, a lot of legs, and then just go fucking crush it. That's it. Go smash it. Because you're doing crazy shit with the boys. That's it. It's the most primal thing that you can really feel because you're just under the heat and the pressure all the time and it exposes you for your weaknesses. I was a very, very, very weak man even though I went to a war first, I was a very weak man going to buds for sure. Because when they take away that, my homie left, exposed me for what I was, broken, unable to handle real pressure under that time. Like they can't take that into the community. I didn't know who the fuck I was still. Just a quitter, someone that didn't believe they deserved to win. And what if I did that in combat with them? That's like the program does what it's meant to do for sure. It was great. Yeah.
You ever feel like your body just isn't keeping up the way it used to? We all know that life doesn't slow down, and sometimes the grind shows up in ways that we might not expect. Lower energy, focus that's a little off, maybe even motivation that isn't quite there. Human Performance TRT knows what it's like to want to get that edge back, and they're here to help you do it without the runaround. A veteran and first responder-owned company, they're not just your typical telehealth service that just hands out prescriptions. Human Performance takes a full view of your health. First, you hop on a video call with one of their expert providers who goes through your goals, your blood work, and any specific needs you've got. From there, they create a personalized plan that goes beyond just hormones. If you need support with mental health, they've got it. If you're looking to get serious about weight management, they can coach you through it. The best part, they keep it flexible. No locked-in subscriptions. As you progress, they're checking in, making adjustments, and keeping your health plan up to date. Because what works today might look different down the line. Everything they do is sent right to your door, hassle-free, so you can stay focused on the things that matter. And here's another benefit. If you're already on a hormone replacement program or have recent blood work, Human Performance makes it easy to transition. If your lab results are less than 6 months old, you could submit those directly. No need for new blood work. They'll review your current levels and build a customized plan based on where you're at now, so you don't have to start from scratch. It's just another way that Human Performance puts you first, meeting you where you're at on your health journey. Human Performance TRT is built around your success. This isn't a one-and-done approach. It's ongoing with real guidance because your health deserves more than just a quick fix. If you're ready to take the next step towards optimized health, check out Human Performance and see what a real personalized approach looks like. And for listeners of the Transition Drill podcast, use the promo code TDP for 10% off throughout the entire time you work with Human Performance. So head over to hptrt.com and remember to use the promo code TDP, that's Tom David Paul, for 10% off your program. And for anybody listening to this point, I really hope that they're getting the truly big picture of what you were battling mentally. And it's real easy to sit here now and look back on what you were going through and go, man, couldn't you have just, but I'm not you. The person listening isn't you.
Yeah.
And every one of us has had that moment in our life where we just weren't listening to anybody else.
Yeah.
We thought we knew everything.
Yeah.
And it's only with time and enough ass kickings that you kind of look back and go, man, that was the wrong decision. But you had to, that is your life. That's your experience that you had to go through.
Yeah.
And there's nobody who can sit back now and go, well, you should have. Yeah, it's easy to say, well, I should have. I didn't.
Yeah, I didn't. I didn't. But that was all meant to be. That's it. And then that's not to place my decision to leave training just on my past traumas. Like I quit just because I didn't, the system did what it's meant to do. That program it's perfectly built and structured. You know, it's imperfectly perfect, but time does its thing and exposes people for their weaknesses and exposed me for mine. That's it.
How many days into Hell Week were you when you
Well, I
quit?
think like Tuesday night, I think.
So at least you didn't do it like on
a
late
Monday
Thursday
break.
afternoon
No,
or
Tuesday
something.
No, it was like at the beginning. Yeah. It was great. We did all the, it was fucking crazy. But oh yeah, that system, it does what it's supposed to do. That's it. I quit just because I just fucking quit.
What time of year did you go in?
November. It was cold as fuck. Yeah. Not too cold, but November 9th was my last day in training. But yeah, it's cold as fuck. Yeah, I didn't go in the ocean for about almost a year after, not a year, but a few months after that. I couldn't go in the ocean. I didn't even want to look at it.
I've had a couple other Navy SEALs on here, and one of the things I ask them, you know, with now today, the whole cold plunge thing being the trend.
I don't give a fuck.
Bro, I've been cold before. I don't want to go in one of those.
Yeah, no. It's cold. Yeah, it was fucking cold. But man, it was an experience, and I needed to quit on myself because it was the last crack in this facade that I was, because I was super overly confident. I didn't give a fuck. I was I was there for the boys and everything, but I had this facade. It was you can almost call it narcissism, because a narcissistic person, they project this spirit of competency without competence. And I feel like you can't be authentically confident without exploring yourself and, you know, understanding who you are. It was just this, maybe not narcissism, but yeah. And it split me for sure. That's what cracked open my fucking mask of fakeness and shit. It was, for years, you're trailblazing through the military saying you're a fucking pussy, you're a fucking bitch, calling people out for their bullshit, thinking that you're this top whatever. And then you get broken and you don't make it. But it's because of my own doing. Nobody else's. Like no instructors, like they thought I was cool, you know, like it was great. It was my own doing. And I said, oh, that's who I am. I'm not this person that I've been telling people I am. Oh, this is the truth. And then it kind of just cracked me open. And that was like the first little chink. Mm-hmm.
So when did you ES out?
July of 2022. July.
And what was your plan, or what did you do right afterwards?
So I set myself up pretty well. I made sure to get seen for everything that was wrong with me. Because it was being a corpsman, I got to see the behind the scenes of everything and doing a lot of Marine separation packages and separation physicals. A lot of these dudes, they don't set themselves up properly before they're getting out. And it's like, dude, from the moment you get in the military to the time you get out, your body's being worn to fuck. That's it. Like your back didn't hurt before, and now all of a sudden it does. Why? Okay, go get it seen. Go figure out what the fuck's wrong with you, you know? And so I did all that, did my appointments, did whatever. And I knew that I wanted to go to school to become a doctor. That was it. My whole life I wanted to be a trauma surgeon, just to help people. And yeah, so I got out with the full plan. It was okay. I did my VA thing, got that, you know, school was set up. I went out with a plan because that was another thing. I didn't really give a shit when I got out of like training. I just wanted to get out of the military. And so my whole time there, it was just spent through appointments and setting myself up. For the last year, I was able to just take that time. So I set myself up perfect. So when I got out, there was a month or two where there was a little bit of rockiness for sure, but then school started. Then you get like the BAH and stuff like that. Then that hit. And that was okay. So yeah, it took a while, but man, it was a fucking lot. But there's a lot of dudes that come out with no plan, that come out they just EAS. And then they try to go through the VA system and try and get a disability through there. The VA they don't want to necessarily look at you and compensate you wholly for everything that you've done. It's not that they don't want to take care of you, but nobody wants to take care of you more than you want to take care of you. So you got to do your due diligence.
You have to be your best own advocate.
Yeah, you have to, because they're not there to advocate for you. They've got way too many people in there to be wanting to look at you and really dissect if it's true or not, or this or that. Because at the end of the day, there's money involved. And when there's money, there's decisions. And it's more of like, I wouldn't necessarily say a business, but there is a little bit of a business aspect to it where you have to go in like with your cards in order.
I could see there's a little bit of a mindset that if, hey, we put it on them, if they don't happen to come back, that's on them. You know, we're not going to go chase them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. No one's going to advocate for you. That's the thing. When you're getting out, set yourself up, go get seen for everything, open up about whatever's going on. If there's nothing wrong with you, then just get out. That's fine. Set up, go to school, set something up, go back home, maybe even for a couple months just to kind of reset, recenter. But getting out without a plan is dangerous.
Did you stay in Southern California?
I did. Yeah.
Where were you going to school?
I was going to school at OCC, Orange Coast College out in Newport. Mm-hmm.
And when did everything come off the rails for you?
As far as?
Cool. I believe you said before we started recording that you were in school and then it was just, you threw everything away.
Oh yeah.
And, you know, complete right turn pivot, but not in a good way.
Yeah. No, it was in a good way, but then it was a combination, you know, it was good and bad, but things were still kind of unraveling for me for sure. The big, huge bomb and explosion where I hit absolute rock bottom was on my last year in the Navy on my way out. That's when everything kind of like boiled over and I hit that point. So going back to when I was a kid, when death first gripped me, I felt it again in Afghanistan for sure. Just being around it and seeing death. I just wanted to just like end my story out there. That was it. And that didn't happen. So I got home with this like breaking all my relationships and friendships that I had, just absolute fucking mess. And I was just living in this house in San Clemente. There was this, I had a roommate, one wealthy dude. He just was divorced, fucking depressed and shit. I was not in a good environment. But yeah, I was going through a lot of my therapy at that time too. And that's when I just like hit rock fucking bottom. And I made the decision like, okay, this is for real. I'm going to take my life and call it a day. And I'm going to check out of the system and, or check out of this game of life. And skipping through the story a little bit, I remember when I made that decision again, because I had already quit, I realized that I had it. Okay, I'm a quitter, you know, so I'm fucking out of here. Fuck this, you know, like I realized who I was. I was this person that pretended to be something that he wasn't. And that's what people saw. And that just wasn't it. And my whole life just went catapulting down. And the months leading up to that, sleeping in my fucking car, I wasn't eating at all. I dropped like 15, 20 pounds. I was weighing like 159 pounds at the time, just a complete absolute spiral. Isolating.
Is this before or after you're out of the Navy?
This is just before I got out. Just before. Yeah, a few months before I got out.
But the therapy you were going to was in the sense you were driving that train to go talk to a therapist, or was that just part of the transition out process that everybody goes through?
I talked to the therapist when I first got there and I said, hey, I have this guy who's experiencing these symptoms. Do you think he needs to be seen? And she was like,
let me guess, the symptoms were your symptoms?
Yeah, my symptoms, yeah. And she was great. She was the best. She helped me out so much, but she just kind of watched me unravel and she was scary because she got to know me really, really, really well. She did her job as the doctor. She was amazing. But yeah, she got to see just the whole thing unravel because we were talking about childhood and everything. And there just wasn't enough time to unpack it all. And it was nuts. So it got to a point where I was driving to work and I had to deliberately get to work. There was this wall that I would have to drive by and I was screaming down PCH going at like 100 miles per hour without my seatbelt on, just fucking crying, sad, depressed, just in that state. And making that conscious decision to just not hit the fucking wall. That was it, you know? And like I was seeing bodies in my room too. The Taliban dude, he was in my fucking room. It was fucking gnarly. It was crazy. And it was nuts. And so that all boiled over. I split with this girl that I was dating for a couple of years. And
was alcohol already part of the problem?
No, not yet. That was when I got out. But I split with her and then I lost everything at that point because I had rooted my identity in all the things that I was trying to achieve and all the things that I had. And that's what I anchored myself with. And so all that was taken away. And then I got left with who I was. And then I was like, oh, fuck. You're still that same fucking kid. You just got older. And But anyway, so in a moment where I decided it was done, set everything up, I was like, okay, it's time to move. We're closing it. As soon as I took that once I made that decision and it set in, there was just something inside of me that was just like, hey, you don't want to die. Don't die, you know, but 90%, 99% of me was just like, yes, do it. Just go. It was just cold decision. And as I took a step, I remember saying, I was just like, Jesus, I actually don't want to die. Please save me. I don't want to die. And then in that moment, everything just stopped. And I had this headache for weeks. It was in the center of my forehead. And I remember I was looking through my phone too. Before that moment, I wanted somebody to call. And I remember going through the contacts on my phone and like instead of like seeing people's names and stuff like that, I was scrolling and they were all blurry. And the reason why is because I was looking like, who can I call that knows me? Who can I call that can help me? But I had never truly been myself, so nobody fucking knew that I was drowning. And nobody ever knew the real me. So there was nobody for me to fucking call. And my phone was, you can look at it from a spiritual sense too, as that's the devil 110%. I was 110% in the devil's like arms for sure. And I realized that skipping forward through my walk in the faith and with Jesus, where he brought me back to that moment to show me what it is that actually happened. And oh yeah, man, the devil's an ugly thing. That's what that was, you know, is I was wrestling with the devil.
Had you been deep in your faith growing up and then walked and stepped away from it? Or did you find faith through this process?
I found faith when I got out of the military. Yeah, again, it was like 2023, 2024, my transition out. It was a whole life reconstruction for sure. Because I needed to pick, what side am I going to be on? Am I going to be with the demons or am I going to be with the angels? You know, who am I going to be with? And yeah, I go to Mariners Church. That's where I'm at now. They've kind of taken me in and it's been a really, really great process with them. I love them. But anyway, so in that moment, I remember looking through my phone. Who can I call? Who can I call that can help me? And nobody knew me. They just knew this fucking version of me that was a lie, a facade. And then I was really alone, you know, and I couldn't call my mom because she doesn't even know anything about deployment in Afghanistan or nothing. She knew that I was over there, but she doesn't know, you know, like I just remember coming home and she said I was different. That's it. Like the son she sent away didn't come back. This is just nobody ever really comes back. Obviously, you know, people's lives are taken over there and they sacrifice themselves and those guys are all heroes for sure. But when you look at it, not to take away from any of that, but nobody ever really truly comes home from any of that kind of stuff. You know, whether it doesn't matter if it's war, combat, going as a police officer, you're on patrol every single fucking day. You know, your life can be taken like this, just that stress, it's always there. Nobody ever comes back. The same you that went is not the same you that comes home, you know? Yeah. And, but anyway, so nobody was on my phone. I couldn't call nobody. I had nobody, but I called Jesus, you know? And then, yeah, that's when I remember laying down and I was in this white space and I didn't see him. I was just in the presence of the Lord. It was peaceful. Everything, it was warm. That sense of you're going to be okay, that touching of your shoulder, that was the moment that it happened where it was like, hey, you're not the same prayer that I gave that Afghan soldier when I grabbed his hand and I told him, you're not going to die today. That's what he said to me when I was in that space. He said, you're not going to die today. Like you're not dying. Like I just felt there was a plan. I was at peace. And I remember going to sleep and I woke up the next morning and I went to work. And then people were like, dude, you're glowing. Like you have this like glow to you. I have all the pictures on my phone with it too. But I still battled. I was still in a journey. That was just God saying, hey, you're not going to die, but you're going to be on a fucking journey. And that's when like my starting to piece myself together really started, was then. Though it's been a few years, a journey for sure. And then I got out of the military.
What was you mentioned to me finding your mentor, but walk me through the small steps. So after that moment where inside you kind of, all right, maybe I'm still battling some demons, but I feel like I've turned the corner and I'm starting to win this war.
Yeah.
Walk me through those small steps leading up to finding that mentor that were really kind of the changing moments for you to really kind of turn your life around.
Yeah. So after that, I was still just struggling at work, you know, just like seeing those fucking bodies in my room and shit and just figuring out who the fuck I was. That's it. Cause at least I had in my mind, hey, you're like, God's got you. Like that was my first kind of like Jesus saying, hey, I'm here, you know, like you're safe. You're going to be fine. I still try to do it on my own, you know, but yeah, I just continue going to therapy. And then I I got over the whole like breakup relationship and stuff. I was drinking still, but I wasn't sliding down the mountain as far as like that deep rooted depression of just like suicide, you know, like I wasn't there. It was in the back of my head, but that wall that, so let's say I always say on my social media, climbing the mountain, moving up the mountain, move mountains, climb the mountain. That thing that was stopping me from going down to the bottom was Jesus. He was there because I would still slide back, but then I would hit a wall and he's like, yep, nope, you're not going down this road because we've already been here and I saved you. Okay. So you can keep going.
Was the slide back a little less each time?
A little less. Yeah. I would still slide back a couple times right to that moment again where I would just have that thought like, man, I don't deserve to be here. And I'm tired of being me. Because my mom would always say like, it's so hard being you, you know, it must be so hard. And I would ask her why. And she said, because like you have this external toughness to you, but you're soft inside, you know, and she can see that my childhood made me that way, just this tough thing. And I just remember like, yeah, it was tough being me. The toughness of being me broke me finally, but it needed to. I knew that God was never going to let me go. He wasn't, you know, I needed to make the decision, but when my choice was to pray to him, he saved me. He pulled me 110%. And he led me through the journey that I've been on in life so then I can help other people through theirs. You know, like that's it. He leads people through the desert. But anyway, so I got out of the military at that point, 2022, going to school. I was rowing. We rowed and it was great. You know, like I loved rowing. I had this sense of camaraderie, but then I realized just how quiet things were. So I was getting high every day, every morning. I was smoking weed. I was doing like taking shrooms, not like anything too crazy, but just dabbling in it, you know. But I was getting high every morning to escape from the numbness and the pain that I felt of leaving the military. And I decided that I wanted to do social media and I wanted to just start putting out content. I put out my first piece of content February 2023. That was my first reel ever I think I had like 700 followers, something like that. But yeah, I got out in 2022. And before I decided that I was going to do content, I went on a surf trip to Puerto Rico to see my biological father. And I hadn't seen him in 14 years. You know, so that was a good trip. And I was really just soul searching because when I got home, I don't know. Yeah.
Had you already dropped out of college at this point or did that happen when you came back?
No, that happened when I came back. Yeah, when I came back. Yeah, I just remember coming home though for the first time and just like, yeah, just seeing my family. And I was just different, you know? Yeah.
You mentioned you found home or you went home, and I'm assuming there's a little piece of you that Puerto Rico is home.
Oh yeah, Puerto Rico's home. Yeah, the ocean was my home. Yeah, but
nothing to keep you there.
No, nothing. It's just always going to be there for me. Yeah, just the ocean. Yeah, but before when I got out and I was trying to piece myself together, I just went home to see my family one more time. You know, just first time out of the military, and it was just seeing them. It was just a lot, and I was just different. You know, I can tell just how different I was, especially with my little brother. Yeah, but that's when I was like, okay, I need to go on a surf trip. I just need to go figure out who the fuck I am. So I remember I have this picture of me surfing this wave. It was fucking huge. It was like this 8-foot just proper barrel, just backside barrel. And I remember I felt this peace finally when I was in that barrel. I was like, okay, I'm with God again, for sure. There's this surf movie. It's Andy Irons. It's called Kissed by God. Andy Irons is a dude, legend. Surf, yeah. I watched that movie and I felt like, fuck, somebody understands how I feel. He did. It's just like, dude, you're yourself. And then you get sucked under with these demons and monsters, you know? And when I was surfing, I felt God. And that's when I just felt that explosion in my chest. It was like, okay, I'm meant for something more. I need to figure out what the fuck it is. Because I was numb, you know? I was just completely and absolutely numb. School, I was rowing and I was doing great, but I still...
Like collegiate style rowing? Like that competitive...
In the boats, yeah. And the eights, yeah. But I was still just fucking lost and still just pretending, partying, doing shit with girls, doing whatever the fuck I wanted, you know? And because I was a bit older going to college. Like these kids, they're like 19, 20 years old. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. They're not like the Newport dudes. They're not like savages, you know? We know how to party. I know how to... So I was becoming like the worst version of myself again, going down. But anyways, I went to Puerto Rico and yeah, that barrel changed me for sure.
So when
opened
you
me up.
came back from that trip, was that your quote unquote turning point?
Yes, that's when I decided to go all in on changing, all in on doing something. So while I was out there after that barrel, I was like, okay, I'm going to start a company, and I'm going to have, it's a mental health. I wanted to do something helping people. I want to save people's lives still, but I don't want to go to medical school because I don't want to touch that kind of stuff. I don't want to have a scalpel in my hand anymore. I don't need it. I don't want to go to school for 12 years. I want to do something now. And so my company Active Blue started off as a mental health clothing brand. And that was doing okay. That's when I didn't have an audience or anything, but I really started piecing my shit together. I tried to stop smoking, but I was still escaping, but I was at least doing something, having some sort of motion. And then I was posting content again, starting February 2023. And then in April, I decided to start speaking, like mental health wise. I posted my first reel, like speaking wise, and it went to 2 million views. And then the day after, I posted another reel, same thing, and went to 2 million views again. And it was just it was actually a cry for help. It was interesting because in that style of content, I'm looking across my car and, talking to myself. Yeah. A younger version of me. Sure.
When was your first public speaking event in front of a decent sized audience?
It was after I'd already blown up. I went to Texas, back home again, and I spoke at a high school or something. Yeah, I was in the cafeteria and I spoke to like 200, like 150 kids. That was it. I met her, the principal at church, and networked. Boom, 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 boom. No script, no plan, no nothing. I just showed up and just talked about my story and talked about how these kids need to understand that, dude, life is fucking coming. You guys want to be these people that you're not when high school's over, man. Same thing. When you get out of the military, man, it's going to be the same shit. If you're not going to college and you're not trying to go to the workforce, you're going to realize that nobody gives a shit in the real world unless you're actively trying to do something with yourself. And that was my message to them.
I'm not trying to downplay high school students, but
Yeah.
I would imagine to a little bit, you standing in front of them,
It was too much.
Was it? Because
I think so. I think my message went over. They didn't go over their heads. I had this one girl. I hit who I needed to hit, and that was when God also said, "You're on the right path. Keep going." Is when this girl came up to me and she had bluish hair, and she said, "I didn't realize that somebody like you can feel like somebody like me." And I said, "Girl, I am you. I'm just a different version, like I've been there. She told me a little bit about her backstory, and we talked about God, and she messaged me later saying that she was never going to give up because she heard my story and then my walk with God. And, that's all I needed to hear. And that's when I really started to like speak on social media.
Where I was going with it is when you've been in front of an audience and it's younger people, maybe I'm putting my own spin on this. There isn't that sense of overwhelming judgment. Like, I've still been through a whole lot more than these people. There's really nothing that they can throw at me that's going to rattle me. Where I'm going is the first time you got in front of an audience that was what would be considered maybe more peer level, same age, and really having to yank that Band-Aid off and be vulnerable and say, these were my mistakes. These were my flaws. Here's what I went through.
Got you. I haven't done that before. I haven't stood in front of an audience like that before yet. That's coming. No, I just spoke to that one high school, and that was it. That was my first true in-person speaking. Other than that, it's just been through social media.
Got it. The finding that right mentor, that one mentor that you mentioned, how did that happen?
So I met him through a friend. So through an old friend of mine, I was like, hey, I want to get into coaching, like, do you know anybody? Because I had an audience, I had blown up, but I was like, dude, there's just, people think that followers equate to dollars. It's like, no, it doesn't. The time of this influencer type of thing it's going down the drain. People want value. People want things that can help them change their lives, And I got referred to Andrew by this old friend of mine, and I called him and we had a conversation, and I ended up on that same phone call. I sent him all the money I had. That was it. I said, dude, this is what I'm doing. This is where I'm living. This is my story. And he compressed like the fuck out of me for sure. Just like, he was another, just like, he took the hammer to the nail that was already there and just fucking smashed it all the way through. And he showed me the game, the whole process. Cause he was like, dog, nobody gives a fuck that you went to Afghanistan. Because nobody knows, you know? And even then, and he's the only dude that could ever say that to somebody like us, like warriors and stuff, and not get their shit kicked in or not get their, get fucking killed or something, because it's just like to tell a dude, nobody gives a fuck about what you've done, It's who you are now. Are you undeniable as a man? Undeniable meaning that the value that you provide for other people. Because yeah, you're speaking and stuff, but dude, are you moving people? How are you helping? And it starts with you. What is it that you're doing for yourself? And I told him how I was living my whole life, and there was incongruency between what I was portraying and what I was speaking about and what I was doing. And we eliminated those incongruencies. And that's it. It's a simple daily process, a system of routines and habits that he gave me to start. And then our relationship developed over that time. But yeah, I connected with him through a friend of a friend. Mm-hmm.
I would imagine that when it comes to trying to be an advisor, be a coach to somebody else, if you're constantly throwing in their face, hey, I went to Afghanistan. Hey, I went to Afghanistan.
Yeah.
After a while, it just becomes, dude, I got it. You went to Afghanistan.
Well, I didn't even mention it at that point.
I'm just saying,
knew.
where it sounds like the advice he was giving you is that's just one piece of your big puzzle. Yeah. But if you constantly rely on that as what you use for your affirmation, you're not going to connect with your clients.
Yeah.
Your affirmation and your connection is going to come from everything that you've experienced in your life.
Right. Yeah. He prevented, because I hadn't signed any clients up until then. I worked with one and that was it. But because I never spoke about the military on my social media up until a couple months ago. So I built my whole audience, my whole thing separate from it completely because I just detached from that personality. He said, you need to implement it, but you cannot do it in that way where you're just leaning on it because it's an old card. It's part of your story. Yeah. But who are you separate from that? Are you just telling old shit, the accomplishments of the past? And he was looking at it very objectively. To him, it didn't matter if you went to war, if you were a millionaire a few years ago, and it didn't fucking matter. Like, who are you today as a man? What value are you providing today? And that was his message for sure. And so, and plus I didn't know how to package the story. I tried reaching out to Don, hey, how do I package it? How do I do this? And Don has helped me, but really working one-on-one with Andrew where I told him the whole thing from start to finish. And that's honestly what helped me the most. That's it. It was just having that dude with you who I can trust, who's done the work. He climbed out of the trenches himself, building this real estate company of his. He does freaking, real estate wholesale. And yeah, self-made entrepreneur, just a fucking G of a dude. He's young, 27 like me. And I looked around in the social media space because everybody seems to be portraying these lives that they're living when it's all lies. Most of it is very few people.
Everything on social media is 100% legit.
100% legit. Like, no,
not Photoshop.
Not Photoshop. Like, it's not all lies or just loans and credit cards and just massive amounts of debt and just fake happiness and shit. Now I told him, look, man, I want to help change people's lives. He said, well, how have you changed people's lives? Like now, I said, well, I've saved a bunch. And he said, bro, I don't give a fuck. That doesn't matter to me. You're not undeniable, as a man, who you are internally. And he helped me deconstruct it. And really our mentorship started when he gave me the system, gave me the blueprint. This is your play, the business play. This is it. This is how you integrate the warrior with the man. But you're not a fucking man yet. You still need to do this. Because in the military, they teach you how to become a warrior. But I never had another dude tell me, nah, G, this is not how we fucking move, And I didn't trust nobody because I didn't have anybody around me that I looked up to at all. Like I had surpassed the people in my circle and I let go of all the people that were no longer serving me. And so I hit that point on this journey where it's just you and you're in between these stages and levels. And he was at the next and that was it. And the one after that too. And so, yeah, I was like, here, bro, here's all my fucking money, dude. Just tell me what to do.
Now, we kind of jokingly made fun of social media, but you have definitely, I don't necessarily want to say mastered it, but you put out a very good product. And it's a curated product in the sense of it's edited well.
Yeah.
I remember seeing the video when I was looking at it of you kind of standing over the hood of your car on the driver's side, and you're not really talking to the camera. It's almost like you're talking away.
Yeah.
All of those little things, somebody could look at it and go, oh, he's acting, he's playing or whatever.
Yeah.
But there has to be, I would imagine, for it to really resonate with people, there's got to be a little bit of that polish to it, as opposed to just you with a shaky, selfie.
Yeah.
Who led you down that path as to how to produce quality content?
Yeah, there's a dude who I follow. The name is Joel. Yeah, and he had a massive social media audience in this like cinematic creator space, and because I didn't know anything about videography or cinematography, and again, he was one of the first dudes that I paid. Sent him money for his course. He hopped on 2 Zoom calls with me, showed me how to edit, showed me what camera equipment to use, and that was it. And now we're both sponsored by the same company, ASRV, and it was insane. I remember looking up to him and I was like, yeah, dude, I want to be sponsored by this. This is my story. This is what I'm going to do. And he said, dude, I can tell that you're going to blow up. He said, I can just feel it in your energy. He said, you're just going to make it. You're just one of those. I was like, okay, I don't know. I had doubted it, but really he taught me the system, the games, how to film, the angles, watching his content. But then from there, it was every day while I was still going to school, I was still going to college. I was putting 8-9 hours a day into editing, into filming. I was filming every morning. So I would be up. I was still getting high every day though. This is before I met Andrew. And I was still getting high every morning, waking up at 4, getting high, going to the gym, and then going to rowing, and then going to school, and then going back to rowing practice. But filming the whole day, editing for hours and hours and hours, day in and day out, learning how to film, learning the craft and shit. And then one day I decided to speak, and that was it. Mm-hmm.
In a weird way, when you finally started doing those messages,
yeah,
were you trying to talk to yourself?
I was talking to myself, yes, but I was talking to people who felt like me, who I know were out there because I can see it in people's eyes and stuff. And I was like, man, but it was also, when I say like a cry for help almost, it was just like this is me. I'm tired of being this fucking dude who's just, you have to be this like rigid, tough, like dog, nobody gives a fuck, like I'm just trying to help people, but people, they couldn't see me. They can just see the dude who could lift weights and stuff. And I was like, bro, there's so much more depth to me. And I just decided I was in a low moment, and I set up the camera and I said, okay, I'm going to talk. How do I feel right now? And it was about mental health and suicide. And I wasn't going through it at that time, but I just remembered how I felt then. And I spoke to that man and I got 2 million views. I spoke to that kid that needed that person to say, hey, you're doing a good job, because I never had that. And that's who I was speaking to. I was speaking as the man that had traversed that fucking darkness going back, And so a lot of my content when I first started speaking was looking backwards, a little bit of in the present moment, but yeah, it just came from the heart. No script, no nothing. I didn't know what I was going to say. I just flicked on the camera, said, who am I speaking to? I'm speaking to me. I'm speaking to this younger version of me. And I just started talking, and it came out and it flowed. And that's what people can feel, authenticity. That's one thing that I am now, is I'm authentic. I was very, very inauthentic before, and now I'm just me. And I just speak from the heart. That's it. Mm-hmm.
Having that ability to, even though you're sharing to a degree your story, your journey, what you'll quickly find, and this just comes from enough laps around the sun.
Yeah.
We're not special. We're not unique. We're not individual.
Yeah.
Everybody is going through some struggle every single day of their life.
Yeah.
And for those like yourself who have developed an audience, it's because the way you tell your story, and that's why I asked the question, if to a degree you're almost talking to yourself in the sense of motivating yourself, saying what you needed to hear in your own head inside you. But the thing is what you'll quickly realize is there are a lot of other people who need to hear those same words.
Oh, 100%.
And I would say anybody who's in that same space, who feels like they're drawn to tell their words, start doing it, because you're going to find your audience.
Yeah, because that's the one thing that Andrew told me, your story is somebody else's salvation. He told me that, and I was like, what do you mean? Because he said, dog, like, you're a warrior, dude. Like, I told you nobody gives a fuck about it because I don't want you leaning on that. Like, you've built your audience here, but there was no income. I had no business. Like, I was struggling because I wasn't the man. You have to become somebody that's worth looking up to. You have to give people a trade up factor on social media, separate from the cars and the house and all this other nonsense that people want to put out. And aside from his real estate business, he was the only one that was doing it, Andrew, a dude that can move fucking men and can help men because he's done the fucking work himself. And that's what he taught me how to do, is how to speak and how to curate my message, just the start of it. And from there, it was like a long, long, long journey between that kid that I was speaking to where I'm at now, where when me and him really, really started to dive in working with each other, we cleared 6 figures in 9 months from dead broke poor. Like when I moved out of California and I went back home to Texas and I had a little bit of family drama, whatever, but I was like, dude, I want to go all in on this coaching, man. I really do. Cause I was still dabbling in it. I wasn't telling my story. He was like, dog, it's time to speak. It's time to speak. And I was just afraid of it. I don't know why, because I would show people who I really was, and I was like, fuck, I've been speaking, alluding to it through my content, but not really speaking, until people got close to me and they understood it. Then they would know the truth. But,
it's time to put down the gloves.
But it's time to put down the fucking gloves
and just be open to taking that shot right across the chin.
And just fucking doing it. Yeah. And just being me. That's it. But I also wasn't the best version of myself, and I wasn't a me that I would even want to look up to, and then he helped me out with that. And so I packed my shit. I drove across the country with just the fucking money that I had. That was it. It was good money. I was making good money, but, yeah, again, God sent me another test. Anytime I commit, God tests me. He's like, okay, what's your resolve like? And I had some family issues, sent money here, did that. I had an issue. My car broke down and I just was like, boom, 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 and spent like 15, 20 bands in like a few days. And then like another emergency popped up and I was in a bad fucking state. Yeah, I ended up in a hostel at one point. Mm-hmm. And I remember texting Andrew like, dog, this is fucking degrading. This is crazy. Like how the fuck, like everything was just great. And he said, dog, this is part of the process. It's part of the journey. And we have the text messages. He said, do you trust me? And I said, I haven't trusted anybody since my best friend Josh, who's on deployment with me. He's watched me do all the medicine. He was right there, watched my fucking back. I trusted him with my life, Josh. And I told Andrew, I said, dog, I only trust people with my life. And he said, okay, do you trust me? And I said, yeah, I'd fucking trust you. And then we ran it the fuck up. That's it. He said, this is what we're going to do. And we started working out together, training together. Dude gave me fucking shoes, let me stay at his house for a couple of weeks, showed me how to fucking move. Like a lot of these young men need a dude in their life, like a man for sure. They can't be women. You can't surround yourself with these women to give you these affirmations, because it's like, bro, you don't need that shit. You need a fucking man to be like, dog, you're not living the way you should be living. This is what it means to be a success. It's not the money. It's how he moves with principle as a man, The
one thing I will push back on that.
Yeah.
For somebody who's got more laps around the sun than you.
Yeah.
And has, unfortunately, the divorced label behind my name. Find that right woman in your life.
The right woman.
Find that right partner in your life.
Yeah.
My success today is solely based upon the support that I get from my family and from my wife.
Yeah, I meant women plural.
No,
surrounding yourself.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
Oh, yeah.
But I just wanted to push back on that.
Yeah.
I get it. If you're just running through them like socks, and they're just there for the good time, what you're going to be able to give them, I get that.
Oh yeah.
But there is that part of you that needs that person in your life. You need a mentor. I agree 100%. You need a circle of people who are going to push you forward.
Yeah.
And when you look at that circle, if you're the one that's pulling the train, then it's time to get into a different circle, because you always need to be the one who is, quote unquote, bringing up the rear, because then that means you're always in a circle of people who are excelling more than you.
Oh, yeah.
And you need that drive.
Yeah.
But when you figure it out, another piece is putting that right support person in your life.
Yeah.
You're too young though.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree with everything you say. I think that a man is only, he can only be so great by himself until he has that woman that brings out the rest of him, and can push him to heights that he can't get to on his own. She's like that other, because in the Bible it says that you have a right rib, like Adam and Eve came from his right rib. There's a woman out there who was my right rib 110%. And, but that's what it means to become undeniable for the younger men who are still trying to piece themselves together. Like, how are you moving? Like, because when you're bringing a woman into your life, are you able to provide? Are you able to be a good man? Or how are you standing? Are you standing on empty things or on principle? What principles are you trying to follow? Because Andrew was like, yo, man, are you trying to be this kind of dude, or are you trying to be this kind of dude? I said, this is what I want. Well, this is how you need to move. And then I started getting closer with God in my own way. And, oh yeah, I agree 110%. I think that for me, eventually my off switch is coming. She's coming, for sure. I can feel it 110%. She's out there for sure.
Well, the analogy that you use that I really like is, and it comes in various forms in our lives, our faith, our mentors, our partners in our lives. We need that backstop. We need that wall. We need that line in our life that doesn't let us get too far backwards.
Yeah.
You know,
or try and grab the sun, you know, with your ambition. Yeah.
You know, you take it back to combat and deployment. You know, we need those people in our stick who, when we go right, we know they're covering left.
Yeah.
When you're living your daily life and you're starting to get back into some of those bad habits, we need that person that goes, dummy, this isn't good for you. You know, mentor. Hey, I want to do this in business. All right, here's what you need to do. You know, and so you need to put a big support network in place.
Oh yeah, 100. You can't do it by yourself. No, it has to be around the right people as well too. And but yeah, that she's gonna be a special woman, that's for sure. That's all I'm doing it for, though. Ultimately, all this stuff, I'm not trying to sit in some big empty castle by myself. I'll just go back to sleeping in my fucking car. You know what I mean? Like, no, I'm helping people for sure, and I love that. But ultimately, everything that I'm wanting to do and my goals is just so then the girl that does step into my, like right now, I could, if a woman were to step into my life, she'd be fine. She wouldn't have to worry about anything. She'd be taken care of. And I've done the work as the man to be able to say that authentically and not falsely, you know? And, but oh yeah, right rib. I'll have that. It's like the off switch, but for now it's just sticking to the books, sticking to the script, helping people and just chasing and continuing to push. But I look forward to that actually, because a lot of my buddies who got out of the military, they got married, they have kids and stuff, and just seeing how they are, it's just a different side to a man that comes out. And, I look forward to that.
Here's the old man and the father in me go in the opposite direction. That get yourself 100% squared away. Get your life dialed in.
Yeah.
And then find that woman that doesn't need you.
Yeah.
To know that she's my partner because there's nothing that I have that she can't turn to me in a weird way. Just like, you know, this, I can do it on my own. I don't need you.
Yeah.
I'm here because I want to be here.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the old man dad in me.
Oh yeah. 110%. Yeah. Don't go chasing. That's for sure.
Stepping into the life coaching business. So actually hanging up a flag saying I'm a life coach. What was that like for you? And how was it being open with a client, say one-on-one, and really having to be vulnerable because you know that all eyes are on you?
Yeah, it was the first couple times it was a challenge for sure, because I had never done it. But then I started to catch my flow again. And it was just, God was preparing me through my whole life for exactly that. Because it just felt like I was out in combat again, helping people save lives. Just the tourniquets are different. And the scalpel is my word, you know, the words that I'm using and how I'm speaking in these people's hearts. That's the medicine that I'm doing now. And so at first it was a little rocky, sure, because it was like new to it. But then it started to catch like momentum, and the more and more that, because you can only help people to a certain degree that you've helped yourself. You can only walk someone through a journey of personal development that you yourself has walked. So the game then became, how good can I become internally? How well can I put myself together? And then, you know, just backfilling that through a blueprint and walking people through it. That's essentially, the game. That's how you do it. But oh yeah, I love it. I loved it. It was tough at first though, for sure. But
what are some of the learning lessons you had to learn as far as interacting with people and getting your message across, as much as understanding what they need out of you?
Gentleness. I need to learn how to be gentle again, just with words, and then listening intently as well. Just really, really, and just being able to pick out things within their message that they were speaking. Because a lot of people can speak in code where they're telling you what's wrong, but they can't really tell you directly. And so you have to really, really, really help someone. You need to understand people. And so, but really first what I learned was gentleness. Not everybody is a Marine. I can say, what we say to these people, not everybody. Some of these people need it. But yeah, I had this, more recently, one of my clients, she was going through a crazy, crazy, crazy story. And she lost her younger brother when she was younger than her sister, in her adulthood. Her career had stagnated, just like trauma was holding her back, just absolutely just stuck and frozen in life. And no one would think that crazy motherfucker like me could be able to sit down in front of someone like that authentically and be able to provide value and help her change or get her life back on course. And it was just everything that I had been through and just that lesson again of gentleness. She flexed my capabilities as a life coach and where I'm going. Cause I've been studying a lot. Since I got out of the military, it's just psychology, human behavior, a lot of neuro-linguistic programming. In May, I'm going to fly out to Portugal and go get my master neuro-linguistic programming certification so I can be a master practitioner. That's what Tony Robbins is. That's what I'm kind of modeling after is him, is just embodying that message, getting people to find meaning. For me, what I have written on my wall is be the man that got the world to believe in themselves again. That's what I want to do. And that's just that's the mountain that I've decided that I'm going to die on, is that one. Is it doesn't matter how long it takes or where I go in life. Just if I am able to get people to believe in themselves again, I'm fulfilled. That's it. But yeah, she flexed my capabilities and like my limits of a man for sure, and helped me break through my own barriers as a coach as well. Because to take someone in like that, like are you real or not? You know, and it came out. And she's changed her whole life. It's so good to see her smiling and working and getting her career back, getting her life back on track. But it felt the same way as when I was a doc in combat, though, looking at these people that were broken and shot and their arms and legs are missing. It's just the injuries. I call them the invisible injuries. I can see these people's invisible injuries because I've looked in the mirror and seen mine. And I healed mine up for the most part, but God was the one that pieced it all together. And yeah.
How much does working with somebody that you see, we'll call it broken, but it could just be they're just not on the right path.
Right.
How much does that help you, though, each day when you see what you're able to do for them?
Just my energy. It just pushes me. That's it. It's the reason why I wake up, honestly. Like, because without it, I wouldn't have a purpose or a mission. Helping these people and seeing them see themselves. I just hold up a mirror because I'm not this great, grandiose dude. I'm just getting them to see themselves again for who they are. That's it. The same way that, you know, through my journey, being broken, being fractured, quitting on myself, depression, the whole thing, I just needed to look in the mirror. That was it. And I put the mirror in front of them and seeing them see themselves for who they are, who God has created them to be. That's special. And I love that moment of realization where they're like, oh, I can do this. Because you get them to their point of everyone is battling with fear, and you have to incrementally expose them to what they're afraid of, doesn't matter. And seeing them overcome their hurdles and obstacles, dropping the vices, dropping the drugs, the addictions, because they're afraid of that change. And you incrementally, and you're just pushing them and pushing them. It's this fine walk between compression and compassion, when to hit them with fire and when to be gentle. And when they see it for themselves and they no longer need me, I love it. Plus, I also just like talking to people and being around them and just helping them out. It just gives me a sense of purpose in life. That's it.
I think that's a huge component to it, is just finding pleasure and passion in just being able to talk to somebody and have a conversation with them and not feel, you know, turning off the other distractions. Oh, I need to check my phone. Oh, I need to, you know, it's giving yourself to them in that moment to where they realize you're there for them.
Right. Exactly. And that's a lot of people, all they need is just someone to say, hey, I believe in you. You can do this. That's all I'm really saying. You know, there's a lot more to it, but I definitely really at the basis of it is you just get them to believe in themselves by you seeing them for who they are and all their brokenness and saying, hey, I've been there just the same and I've done it. Why are you any different? I believe in you. And they're like, whoa, they've never had anyone truly tell them that there's someone worth being believed in. And then they start doing the work, and the work validates the worth. And when you're on a mission, you're on your purpose, you're on your grind. I call it the pursuit of excellence is the antidote to chaos. So this pursuit of excellence, you identify your North Star, you identify what's your purpose for waking up in the morning, what's your goal? You need to have a goal. When you identify that, then you structure the system of habits and routines. So then when you wake up, from the moment you wake up, every decision that you make is pushing you towards that goal, and you feel the progress being made. And then you change your internal belief systems, because people are stuck in their own internal paradigms, where your internal paradigm is a structure of your thoughts, your emotions, and your beliefs. And other people really, myself included, from the moment that I was a kid, when my stepdad made me feel the way that I felt, that was his own words and his own actions that infiltrated me in my mind. And so really people are living out other people's lives and other people's thoughts of themselves. They haven't explored their own thoughts. Like, who am I at my core, separate from everything that I've been through? And when you start to deconstruct that, people get the opportunity to piece it back together. That's it, in their own way, their own narrative, their own story. They pick up the pen to their life. This woman that I was working with, she picked the pen back up in her life and didn't allow her past traumas to take control over her anymore, or the escapisms and the vices. And it's a lot of hard work because people, they have to sit there and look at the truth of who and what they are and what they're not. And someone who hasn't done that for themselves can't do that authentically for other people, only to a certain degree. But yeah, I just like seeing that trigger in their eyes. That's it. It's just this light that they know they're going to be okay. And that's it. And then a lot of everything is faith-based too. We talk a lot about God and Jesus, and arming them with just the scripture and just watching from my level, seeing where they're at when they first enter the program to when they're out. Cause it's only, I do one-on-one, just cause I like to go really deep into these people's lives, and seeing the word work within them. I know that as soon as we break through that threshold and we start getting into like the scriptures and stuff, that the word will do itself, its own thing. And then seeing the person completely change in this process where you build the mind, you build the body, and then you build the spirit, and just watching their spirit come through. Cause that's all it is. It's your spirit. You're just bringing more of the thing that's already in you out into the world. And then whatever you pick, you just go be excellent at it. That's it. It doesn't matter. It's not the material items that makes you successful. No, not at all. People, you're going to get deceived. I've seen that. I've been around this isn't a dog on anybody in the social media space, but I've been around dudes who are making millions of dollars a month. And man, you're going to be deceived if you think that's where your worth is going to be at, is living in an empty castle with a bunch of fancy cars and stuff. Like, that can only get so old, It's like, bro, you need to explore yourself and who you are. Your wholeness is in God for sure, and in Christ. And then making yourself an offering for other people.
You're probably too young for this. MTV Cribs.
Oh, I've seen it. Yeah, okay. I've seen it. Yeah.
But it's funny, now that some time has gone by and you start hearing the stories slip out that a lot of those homes were just rented for that film shoot. Yeah. And they didn't actually live in there. They didn't own all those homes. And that's what it is. It's a big facade.
It is a big facade.
But that's their marketing. They're not going to get more clients coming in unless you sell this facade of, you go back far enough. I can't remember his name, but there was a guy who taught you how to invest or whatever it was. Mm-hmm. And I believe he was Asian, if I remember correctly. But it was like the stupid infomercials when I was a young kid. He's sitting on a boat with all the women. All this stuff. Give me the money. I'll show you how to get here. It's all smoke and mirrors.
Yeah, it is. A lot of this, so this dude that I'm referring to, he's also really, really helped change the lives of thousands of people. And I see it. It's just, the main point is that when I'm working with my clients and stuff, and we're talking about success, it's redefining what that word means for them. It's like, no, don't look at what this person has and think that they're successful. No, man, it's internal. It's internal excellence. And how you feel internally, your self-image, your world externally is just a reflection of who you are internally. You can't out-earn your level of self-worth. If you believed you were worth anything, you would start reading books. You would start developing yourself. You would start putting yourself out there more. It's all, your external reality is just a reflection of who you are inside. And so what I get these people to do is to look inside. And then once they understand what's inside, then they pick a goal that's aligned with that. And if you have a goal and you're moving towards it, you're successful. And you're genuinely waking up and being a good person, providing for the people that are around you and for yourself, you're a success. You have purpose. You have meaning. You can be in a fancy car and a big home and have nothing. You can have it all and have nothing. Have absolutely nothing when you have everything. Like everything, no, don't be deceived. Don't go that way.
You're making my brain hurt. You're saying I have everything, but I have nothing.
No, don't go that way. No, don't go that way. That's a dark road right there, because that's just, you'll get deceived. But these people, seeing them define what success means for them, and they're like, man, I am amazing. Yes, you are. Absolutely. You're doing the work and you're working towards your goals. If you're going to go be, like I said, a janitor, go be the best janitor. How can you be the best janitor? We identify that, and that's it. We remove the destructive habits. People don't need extra shit in their life. They need to subtract shit in their life. It's addition by subtraction. Destructive habits, limiting beliefs, and removing people from their lives that are no longer serving them, and then removing themselves from their lives, because a lot of people are just the mountain that's in front of them in their dream life. It's themselves. Once you subtract all that shit, then you align the routine and the habits with their end goal, and that you can see that flywheel build in their life, and then they start running, and it's great. Yeah, I love it. But yeah, 2025 is going to be interesting, especially when I get certified. I'm just obsessed with the mind and the human behavior in the mind. It's going to be awesome.
If somebody's interested, they feel drawn to want to operate in this space. They feel that they could work well with others and help them. From your standpoint on it, the learning aspect, you talked about become a student of it, learning, reading.
Oh yeah.
Where would be the jump off point for somebody from your perspective of if they're starting today?
Wanting to get into like coaching and helping people. Yeah. What I would say is there's a business aspect to it, and then there's a personal development, meaning you as the person need to develop. So from the personal development aspect of it, I would say really identify what is it that you want to help people through, like genuinely, because you can't help save everybody with everything, because you'll serve nobody. You have to pick, okay, this is what I'm going to specialize in. Boom, 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 boom. And really just go all in on specific knowledge and just really dive in with that. And then as far as the business aspect to it, the game knows this game, I don't know how else to describe it. The game knows if you've invested into it. Find a mentor that is aligned with who and what you are and what you believe, someone that you want to be like, that's in your space, that genuinely has the results. When I hit up Andrew, because I've invested like 80% of my income for a whole year, almost like a year and a half, almost 2 years, just blowing all my money on courses, mentors, self-educating, everything. And there's this facade on social media, people saying they're making this money, and a lot of them really aren't. But then when I hit up Andrew, one of the only dudes that I know that has screenshots of just undeniable proof that his income is not just off of a lie. It's off of the value that he genuinely provides for his clients, a true like leader on the outside, and find someone who is really walking the talk for real. And if they say they can help you make X amount of money, ask them to show you their income statements 110% from their online business. Let me see it. If there's payment processors, you have to be receiving payments somehow. Let me see the screenshots of this. You said you're making 40, 50, 60K a month. Okay. Show me a 30K a month today. If they are all in truth, they will do that for you. And if they can't, do not work with that person, because they're just trying to take you for your last dollar. That's it. And that's part of being undeniable though, in this process where you're in every aspect, you have the bases covered and you're just operating in truth. That's it. It's a weird game on social media. There's a lot of people involved trying to get into this online space and saying that they can help people make money here. They can help you do this. And it's like, man, just really get a good look at someone first. Ask them for the proof and then pay them and give them whatever they ask. Because when you invest, you have to release what it is that you are wanting to attract and possess. And that's one thing that he taught me, is I wasn't making money because I hadn't invested into the game enough, So I gave him everything, just like he did. And you trust the process and you do the work, and it will pay off 110%. But yeah.
Once you went into it full time, or this is what I'm doing, I am now a life coach.
Yeah.
Garnering clients and getting your name out there, what's some advice you would give to somebody trying to get themselves going?
Yeah, is just really sit down and write out like who you are on a piece of paper. So what I tell people to do is put point A on one side and then put point B on the other side, and then draw a line. And on the top half of that paper, write everything that you've ever been through in your life, bullet points: depression, suicide, drinking, drugs, boom, 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 just real, authentic on the top. And your worst characteristics and your worst traits that you've ever had to battle and overcome. And then on the bottom, describe yourself on who you are today, positively. How is it that people see you, and who is it that you want to become? And then all you're doing in your content is you're connecting and showing contrast between who you were and what you were doing then and who you are now and how people view you. And as long as you're able to connect the dots, in an authentic way and truly just provide value, you will attract people that you can authentically help, because you're walking people through a journey that you yourself have walked. So you need to see that journey between point A to point B. That's it. And also have a little bit of that future element on who you want to become. Put that at the bottom too. So on social media, you're speaking to the old you, the current you, and the future you. You're showing contrast in the journey between the old you to who you are. And you're also reaching a little bit into the future on who you could become, you know, to attract that kind of audience as well. But yeah, it's a lot of self-work to do it in a non-scammy kind of twisted, weird way, because there's a whole bunch of nonsense out there. But yeah, really write that down on a piece of paper, what you've been through and who you are today. And then you connect the dots. That's it. And that's what you're helping people through the hero's journey. Because on social media, I say it's not about you. You need to understand you, but really it's about the audience. It's about your client. You're walking them through their hero's journey. They're just at point B or point A where you were at, and you're walking them through so they can get to that end point and they can become the best version of themselves. It's all about them. You need to understand you first so you can walk them through the journey for sure. But yeah, that's what I'd say.
If I was to say something in response to that, is I would imagine that's got to be one of the hardest things to learn, but also the most rewarding thing to learn, in the sense that, like you talked about earlier, letting go of your own ego and understanding that your purpose in that journey is to just be their sensei, to guide them, not to do it for them, not to make it your journey that they're happening to be on, is really pushing that ego away and going, what do you need from me to help you accomplish your journey?
Yes. Yeah. That's it. You have to subordinate your ego. That's it. Otherwise you're in it for the wrong reasons. That's one thing that I learned, like I said, getting out of the military. I needed to change. I needed to do something. And it started with being able to subordinate your ego. Yeah. And when I linked up with Andrew, that's the reason why I was able to time warp through and skip over all the nonsense and hurdles, is because you just need to learn when you're asking for help from more experienced senior guys, bro, just shut the fuck up. Like they've walked the walk. That's why you need to find someone who's actually done it. Because if you pay somebody who hasn't, they're going to lead you down an empty path and you're just going to be bitter, you know, and you'll lose out on money. But if you find quality people that have actually made the journey, just shut up, trust the process, do the work, and just detach from the timelines of this is when I want it to happen, and just focus on the inputs. That's it. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. All you got to do is just put in as much input towards the proper goal, and it will come eventually. But yeah, subordinate the ego, because it isn't about you. It's about the hero's journey. You're your sensei. Like, you got to think that they're Luke Skywalker and you're Yoda. Yoda trained Luke, but the movie was about Luke. But people remember Yoda for being the master. But it's not all about him, though. They just remember, like, yeah, he was just really wise. Yeah, I had that one mentor, but it's not really about you. It's about them. They're the superhero of their movie. And when you get them on that journey and you get them on that arc, that's where your fulfillment comes from. It's like, man, they did that. It's not, I did that for them. No, it's like, dang, you got to see that person just glow and just become the best version of themselves.
I like Daniel and Mr. Miyagi better than Luke and Yoda.
Yeah, for real, Mr. Miyagi. Yeah, it's yeah, no, I love it.
Going back to sensei and everything else, are you still doing judo? You still doing martial arts?
No, I'm gonna get back into judo here soon, though, for sure. I'm gonna get back into it. I need it. Yeah, I love it. I'm not bored, but I need something more in my life now, more physical for sure. Get back into it, get back into fighting and competing again too. I've been thinking about that. I finish up, get my black belt. That's on my list as well. Probably start Brazilian jiu-jitsu, go get humbled. That's it. I hated fighting dudes that had a jiu-jitsu background. Like in judo, we were a lot of stand up and throwing, but on the mat, I just hate dealing with dudes that have jiu-jitsu backgrounds, because they just close the space and you're just trapped. It's like, fuck, I fucking hate it.
When you get going onto that journey, you start really appreciating the other martial arts for their specialty.
Yes.
And when you see somebody who is very skilled at judo,
yeah,
it's poetry in motion, just
It's
watching
beautiful.
them.
Yeah.
But then you watch it from a competitor standpoint. You're like, okay, they just went to the ground. Why did they stand back up again?
Yeah. Yeah. That's me. I would just get up. That's it. But yeah, because I don't want to be trapped down there with a dude that knows jujitsu. I'm not trying to no, bro, I'm going to stand up. Fuck you. I'm not going down there with you. You're fucking high. No, but yeah, jujitsu, that would be sick. Rowing, I also loved rowing. Get back. I'll probably get like an NAC. It's like a little club in Newport, and you could rent out the boats and the shells and stuff and just probably row in a single scull. I'm doing a lot of running now. Another thing that helped me really, really, really piece together who I was just even more, just because it's a constant journey of just professional and just personal development, is I did an untrained marathon, right? And then 7 days later, I did a 50-mile ultra by myself overnight. And
that's a different level of stupidity.
Yeah, dumb as fuck. Yeah, I broke my body off like shit. But yeah, I train over at this gym called Society.
How did you come out of that? In the sense of what was the long-term injury recovery? Because I can't imagine you walked out of a marathon, then a week later a 50-miler with no after effects.
My legs weren't broken or anything crazy, but I just felt I broke my body off for sure. A lot of swelling, but honestly, after the 50-mile ultra, the next day I was in the gym, hobbling around like there's literally shuffling and sliding, but it was just a fuck you to me. That's it. Like, I'm imposing my will. There's no quitting. There's no turning back. But really what it was is, you mentioned earlier at the start, was that it seemed as though I was still trapped within my own self behind the closed door that never really opened. And throughout my life, I've always had imposter syndrome. I always had this, I can't do it. And that's what this tattoo is I went on that 50-mile ultra and I went back down the steps and I opened the door to that kid as the man I am today. And, I didn't need a dad. I became the man that I never had. And I had to go deep in my own mind. So Goggins talks a lot about that. Like, under doing a little bit of what he's done, just by a fraction, like 1% of the homeboy ran, I think it was 100-mile races every weekend for God knows how long. That dude there's something wrong with him, mentally. No, but what he's doing, when you read his books and you listen to it, what he does is, he says what you need to do is you need to go back in that moment in life where you first broke, where you first were shut within your own self. And there's a method to his madness that people really need to look into. And then you can really get an appreciation of how great he is in his mind and just the level of work that it's not just about pain. Pain without a purpose is fucking useless. Then you're just suffering for no reason, but he does it for a reason. And what he tells you to do is just go deep within your own mind and remember that first person or that first time where you felt unworthy, you felt low self-confidence, whatever it was. And through the pain of that moment on a 50-mile ultra at 3 a.m. and it's cold as fuck and I'm at mile 30, and I'm realizing, oh shit, I still got another 20 more fucking miles to go. What the fuck? But I was smiling and happy. And I remember going into that moment and going up the stairs in the house. And I opened up the door and there was that kid sitting in there, the kid that is at the heart of what people see. Because people could see the tattoos and this warrior savage, but I'm still me, And I had to go in there and grab him and pull him out and say, okay, hey, we're going to go try and fucking change the world. We need to go help people. I need you to be with me. You deserve this. Let's go do it. And so I became the man and I opened the door. And that's what that 50-mile ultra did for me, was that it was the final puzzle piece.
It's crazy when society, however you want to call it, we look at somebody who's going to bite off an ultra marathon. Mm-hmm. And you say to yourself, that's freaking crazy. It's crazy that you're doing that to your body. But on the absolute flip side, if somebody was to go into the gym and go, you know what, I'm going to get to 7 plates on each side and squat this bar.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Nobody sits there and goes, you're crazy.
Yeah.
No, go for it.
Yeah,
Get it.
Do it. Yeah, do it.
Mm-hmm. We all got to find our hard that drives us.
Yeah.
For him, it's putting on his running shoes and running, and then running some more. And then when he's done with that, he's going to go run again.
Yeah.
That's his squat rack.
Yeah. For sure. And you're doing something with it. You're exploring yourself 110%. That's what that did for me. For sure. I needed that. It was awesome. I did the marathon out in Newport on the road with 0 drop shoes that I just bought the day before. Just no training. I did it fasted. And I had a run coach. His name's Michael. He was in the military with me.
What kind of run coach was he?
No, this dude, yeah, he's twisted. He's also building his personal brand too now.
Because his first level of coaching should have been, don't freaking run the marathon.
No, but he did though. No. He did the exact same thing. And me and him were in the military together. Went through field med together and everything. And he was a scout sniper corpsman. Story, fucking crazy. He wanted to continue his time in the military, but couldn't because he ended up messing up ligaments in his ankle, needed to get surgery, never got surgery. Got med-sep, depression, suicide, the whole thing, pieced himself together running. Homeboy did his first marathon, sub 3-hour marathon, his first marathon. A month later, 50-mile ultra. A month later, he was at the start line of a 100-mile race.
Damn.
And I called him and I said, dog, I'm kind of stagnated internally. Like I'm still like, there's something in me that's fucking stopping me and I need to break him. Like I need to kill this kid. And he was like, all right, this is what we were going to do. So go run 5 miles, see how you feel. Okay, I ran 5. Then he said, okay, run 10. I said, okay, I ran 10 a couple days later. He was like, okay, you're doing a marathon next week. And I said, okay, cool. I said, you sure? He said, yeah. So I blasted it. So I blasted the marathon. I said, what's next? And he said, next week you're running a 50-mile ultra. And I was like, okay. And then I fucking did it. And that was it. And then that's how you just have to do it though. You have to, it doesn't need to be an ultra or anything, right, but you just have to break yourself down. But I had a purpose. I wanted to explore who I was, and the pain, the physical pain, opens you up, and it really, really opens up the mind and drops the ego. It kills it. At mile 30, you can't have an ego thinking you're the toughest man in the, no, bro, the pain is going to come. It's hit me. And I was like, okay, now that I'm open and I'm exposed and I'm raw, I can get a real good hard look at who I am today, away from the people, away from the lights, away from the social media shit. It's who is Johann at the core. Okay, this is who he is. Okay, he still has that fucking kid in him. All right, let me go save that kid. And that was it.
One thing I will say for anybody who's not done it before, train for a marathon, long distance rowing, long distance cycling, you get into that, and I guarantee you 2 or 3 hours into a run, 2 or 3 hours into a bike ride, whatever.
Yeah.
The one thing that you will be able to do is have those internal conversations with yourself, because there ain't nothing else to do.
No, it's for real. It's the truth. But then that's the only way to live, though. I feel like maybe not necessarily, you don't have to do long stuff, but is to have those deep conversations. And there's no better way to do it than something like anybody can do it. You put on your shoes and just go. You have like a little nutrition plan and you follow it, but it's just the mind. You're exploring the mind through stimulating the body with pain. And then you get to explore who you are. That's it. Your mind comes out and you're like, okay, here are the demons. But also here are all the good things about me, and you reinforce it. But you can reinforce it because you're reinforcing it through pain. And then it goes back to that one point that the work validates the worth. So when you have this perception of self and this idea of who you are, all of these positives, when you're going to go do hard shit, you can reinforce those into your belief system. Oh, I am capable. I am strong. I am a leader. I am confident. How? Because look at what I'm doing right now. Okay, so the work that you're doing backs up your beliefs. And then you can also go back in and deconstruct what's been holding you back as well. And you just have to face who you are. That's it. That's what it is. Yeah, it's fun. I can't wait. Yeah, so now going into like 2025, I have some goals, maybe get into Ironmans and then maybe get into Ultramans too. That's it. And just start exploring, just really start pushing the pace on what it is. Because now that I've stepped out of my own way, that's it. That's all I've ever done, because I've always felt like I was meant for more. And a lot of people are too. Everybody is, but you're in your own way. And unfortunately, we go through these journeys where people in our lives have made us feel like we're less than what we are. And then their belief in that action sticks with us forever, unless you're able to break it. And it takes a lot of work, but you can do it. Because if I can fucking do it, anybody can fucking do it. Because I'm not that smart, really. And I'm not this like ultra capable dude. It's just resilience. That's it. Resilience, faith, and action. That's it.
Well, if you commit to an Ironman, all I'll tell you is carve out a part-time job in your life.
Yeah.
Because your training is loosely going to be about 20 hours a week.
Really? Oh, I was thinking of blasting one just by myself, December 30, just alone. So I have a pool in my apartment, just swimming the 2 miles there and then running or biking and then running. But I talked to my boy Michael and he said, no, I want to wait off because I don't want to break my body off completely yet, because I actually really want to get into running. So we might hold off and I might sign up for like a marathon and see just how fast I can get it done.
2 mile swim even in a residential pool.
Yeah.
Oh,
I love swimming though.
Yeah, I spent many an hours doing laps, getting ready for mine. And even still, I could not imagine doing 2 miles in a pool.
I know, but I would do that just to fuck with myself.
I get it.
I know, just to really it's the monotony of staring.
You want to be Goggins Jr.,
No, dude,
man.
he's just a fucking gangster, you know? But like when you feel it, you're like, oh, I understand it. I want more. And a lot of people, some people talk shit on Goggins about, oh man, it's like, bro, it's like, shut up. Homie's done the work. It's undeniable. Like he's paved the path to people to explore themselves and understand their own capabilities and their potential. And when you look at it from that angle and then you try, you're like, oh, I understand. Goggins doesn't want to create more Goggins. He wants to create people better than Goggins, better than him. That's what he does. And you do that through exploring yourself.
Are you somebody who can do one of those long runs with no music, no earbuds or nothing?
I did that on the 50-mile ultra. Yeah. Through that ultra, I had my phone with me in my pocket. So I still had a little bit of like comfort there, but no, my buddy Michael, he doesn't listen to shit. So he's just running out on social media, man, posting up at 2 a.m. That's 10-mile run.
Level.
They're fucking psychopaths. Like, dude, I don't care. I don't need to do that. Okay. Like maybe I will, but no, there's something wrong with them.
I like music.
Yeah, they're mentally ill. They are 100% because that's not natural. That's no music alone at 2 a.m. What are you doing? But that's him. Like, oh man, you'll be going through YouTube and you'll see Goggins with a fucking rucksack on doing 100 miles just for fuck. And it's like, man, I'm a fucking bitch. All right, I need to go work. And then you put in the work. You're either polarized by that stuff or you're inspired for sure. We're inspired. I am, at least.
In wrapping it up, any last pieces of advice that you could give, especially when you're talking to the veteran community and that transition piece and just finding yourself, especially afterwards?
Yeah. Man, take God in there with you. Don't try and do it on your own because you're rolling the dice. That's it. I would say just when you're getting out, have a plan or don't get out. Yeah, just wait, try to extend, set yourself up, go get seen, have a plan. But when you're getting out and that silence hits and you realize like, oh man, I'm not in the same community anymore. It's quiet now. You're in the big real world. Like you have to go do something. Don't try and piece yourself together alone. Definitely. Cause I didn't do this all on my own. Like without God, I wouldn't have anything. That's just me. So I would tell them, bring God in there with you. Develop a personal relationship with him. Not I go to church, every single day and just like showing people it. No, but it's like really, really like have that personal where it's different, it's that connection. For me, God became my father. Jesus did. He is my father that I never had. And then I became the man that I never had. But it first started with him and he puts me through because with faith, you can do everything. And my whole journey has been dark, but that's what faith is. The genuineness of your faith is proven through trials, 110%. And there's no better way to develop your faith than walking in darkness. And that's why God put me on the path that I've had in my life, is because he needed me to develop genuine faith, not within my own self and my own abilities, but in him. So if you're coming out of the community, coming out of the military, whatever career, and you want to do something, you can do it. Have faith, but just grab onto God and you'll accomplish it 110%. And it'll probably be better than you can imagine too. I
appreciate your time. I appreciate you sharing your story.
Yeah.
Wish you all the best going forward.
Yes. Thank you. I loved it. Yeah. This was awesome. Yeah. This is going to blow up for sure. Cause there's so many other dudes with like, I just want to talk. Women too, everybody. Yeah. People need that platform like this where they can sit down and just talk authentically about real shit. That's what this is. This is real. It's about as real as it gets.
Again, I appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you.
I appreciate you watching. But before you go, if you like the video, please hit that subscribe button. Also, any comments are appreciated. Thank you.